What's the general dummy operation? What's that? Not only would I'd actually like a lot of not only that's necessary, but not and I feel like
Dog. Well. Oh, dog. Well, hand me that guitar. Hand me that guitar. Dog, let's get this show on the road. Here's one you'll know. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday and good night to Retro. I'm teasing you. Hello. Hope you guys are all doing well. I did do a lot of audio tweaking today, literally right before I went live, which is definitely the worst time to do stuff like that. Wondering if I sound okay, decent, worse, better. I don't know, whatever. Obviously, a lot of you are probably pretty used to what I sound like. It's hard for me as a person to listen to myself and tell what's better and what's worse. So just throwing that out there if anyone has any thoughts. Hope everyone is doing really well. Happy Saturday, of course. It's me, Scoutmaster Demi. We are about to start the final case of Apollo Justice. This has been a very, very solid game, and I think even for those of us who are less familiar with the rest of the story, I think they'll be able to pick up on certain aspects of this just fine. I see Famous talking about Reshiram and Zekrom. I guess Gen 5? Like, is Gen 5 stuff, like, some remakes coming out? Maybe, I wonder. Obviously, raid bosses like Shifalo said are a pretty decent thought, too. Although I know the Sinnoh Tour is coming out, which is really, really cool. The Sinnoh Tour, which actually is in LA. I'm going to be there, and maybe I'll try streaming it or something, which would be pretty cool. Yeah. That's true. The DLC is based in Unova, as Unfunny said. This is very, very true. Also, I hope you are doing very well in your coding homework. I know coding is not your favorite. John, interesting. Is that right? They're coming to Scarlet and Violet, doing some special raids for them, or very cool. No, Famous, it's not just you. I actually did upgrade 60 frames per second. Really smooth stuff, which is great because it's 60 frames as I'm in a tiny little corner of a stream. But I think it'll be good for YouTube stuff, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, Pokejoe, nice to see you, man. Pokejoe, by the way, I did get those a fresh batch of all the pins in. So if you ever want any of them, shoot me a DM. Would definitely love to hook you up. In fact, if anyone, I guess I'll say, we do have our little merch store now, but unfortunately, I have not. The pins are something I myself made, while the merch is stuff that a different company makes. So they're not really synced up, but I've got these little guys. I got a little salute somewhere. They're really cute. Oh yeah, of course the one, Pokejoe has the one I don't have right on hand. Hold on, give me a second. I'm pretty sure I got one right here. Yeah, there we go. I do have some more of these guys. If anyone is interested, feel free to DM me. Because like I said, I definitely, as much as I'd love to have it on the proper merch website, I do not. And I guess I'll drop a link to that as well while we're at it, just because that has been really fun. I really appreciate everyone who's been buying little shirts and playmats and things like that. It's been really, really cool. So definitely, ooh, what does Shiflo want to see? What is hey, said the kids, so nice to see you. What are you interested in? What are you interested in, Shift? Show the patches. Honestly, the patches need to be, I need to redo them because I'm no longer Demi D or MC, I'm now Scoutmaster Demi. So actually, Shiffalo, I know you're more on top of things than I am. Maybe shoot me a DM. Maybe I can do some more affirmation videos for you in exchange for some updated patches. Because yeah, I would definitely be down for that. In fact, honestly, I want to have more colors of shirts with patches too. So it's always a good idea to make more patches just in general. Says lurking, so good stuff. I love it. Okay, well let's go ahead and start off our final game. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, our final case. We did technically beat Animal Crossing yesterday, depending on your definition, I suppose, of how one beats a game. But I would say we beat it. I think we saw the credits. We had Mr. Rossetti talk to us a whole bunch. Maybe we could have actually. By the way, this mug is merch related. Pretty fun. Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I guess we could have like upgraded our house one level, but who's got time for that? I'm not gonna pick a bunch of oranges. We're good, right? I think we're all good. Wow, Chaw's out here just objecting to me. Chaw's Chaw, how are you, man? How is everyone doing? I felt bad. I saw Yamaska's stream like a little bit too late. I really wanted to pop in and see how the New York stuff is going. So, yeah, very, very cool. Beating the game is paying the debt off. I mean, you're not wrong, but we did see the credits. You know what I mean? We saw the credits, so that's pretty good. And that is the whole truth of this case. In order to understand it myself, I had to know the story of these last 7 long years. Nothing happens by chance. All is connected. And now, you stand ready to begin the final chapter of this story. Will the defendant be found guilty or innocent? The decision is yours. They do such a good job of hyping up the mood. Hey, Sleazy, nice to see you. They do such a good job. Like, the mood of that intro is, like, unparalleled. Holy cow. Love it. Also, Cha, how was the anime? I've never seen the Ace Attorney anime. Hey, Apollo, look on TV. Look. Yeah, I'm kind of busy. Whoa, look at that. It's The Last Grammar. All right, amazing. Apollo, you should be watching this. Ow. What? I was writing about our last case in my journal. Lawyers are supposed to write things on records, Apollos, not journals. And why now? That case was 3 months ago. Hey, it's a long story. I did a lot, you know. I want to vacuum pack the fresh feel of the moment for later. Right now, I'm wowing the crowd by figuring out how Lamoureux disappeared. That's right, Uncle Valen did that illusion too. But you're missing him on TV right now. I was just getting the good part. Suppose I should watch a little TV with her. After all, her father's expecting me to look after her while he's away. What you're seeing now is a rehearsal for the greatest magic show on Earth, happening right here at our very own Sunshine Coliseum. Hey, that's where the Governors concert was. Only 3 more days until miracles happen right before your unbelieving eyes. The legendary Troupe Gammarai is performing for the first time in 7 years. They're gonna be great, I'm so there. You and Daddy are coming too. The legendary Grammarais. If Trucy's real father were still alive, he'd be on that stage performing miracles. I got the tickets and everything. Here's yours, Apollo. Is that right? Oh man, the circus case is pretty unbearable, so that's pretty good. That's why we love them. They're so good and immersive. I couldn't agree more. Very, very true. Never play the games, but anime's just like the game. Oh, very cool. So like kind of fun, a little dramatic. You're here working hard or hardly working? Hey, how you been? Hey there, stranger. Not exactly the kind of greeting I'd want to hear from my own kid. Though, he has been gone for a long time. Haha, how goes it, Trucy? Here, I got a present for you. Yay, pudding! I love pudding! Ooh, it's farm fresh. And not just one pudding, but 3 old cups. I'll have to pace myself. She is so chipper. Bummed out, Phoenix. Well, I'm beat. That's right, Daddy. You're on a top secret mission. You gotta take it easy with the secrets, you know. So I gotta get that pudding clip. Well, how right you are. So you can't tell us what your mission is? Maybe it is time. It has something to do with you anyway. Huh? With me? Ooh, maybe you're getting a top secret mission too. Maybe you can be one of those guys. A spy. Can't I just be a defense attorney? To be honest, telling you about the mission was my whole reason for coming here today. What? Tell me. You've heard of the juris system yet? The juris system? That's right, the new legal system that everyone's talking about. Have you heard of it, Apollo? Huh? Maybe. Maybe not as many people are talking about it as I thought. Max Galactica. Oh man, he's quite a character, Oshihide. Again, I think Phoenix Wright too is funny. Because the intro case is like, whatever, the circus is bad, the Korean village is pretty cool, and then the final case is like phenomenal. So it's like, talk about like a mixed bag, talk about like highs and lows. That's a really funny one. So Daddy, what's this jury system thing? Well, Trucy, do you know what a jury is? I've heard of it. Isn't that those people who sit in court in those old courtroom dramas? The ones who get to decide if a guy's innocent or guilty? Do you know, Apollo? Only from TV, it's 12 people chosen from the community, right? Well, they're thinking about reviving that system. They're calling the new system the juris system. No more doing whatever you like, Your Honor. Not quite that harsh. The jurists cooperate with the judge. They help analyze the case from different angles. Ah, and there'll only be 6 of them under the current proposal, right? Wow, you know your stuff, Apollo. Their findings directly affect the verdict. Hopefully people will start taking the courts a little more seriously now. I feel like I'm on some sort of educational TV show starring Dr. Wright. Dr. Wright is Assistant Trucy, and the mascot Apollo, the perfect team. Mascot, hey. Was Turnabout Serenade the one in this one, John? The one right before this? Is that Turnabout Serenade? Which one is Turnabout Serenade, John? The only games I haven't played are the Greatest Attorneys, both of them, and then the Japanese Edgeworth. I like Turnabout Serenade. I thought it was really strong, actually. Yeah, I thought it was very strong. Anyway, keep in mind that new ideas in the system are always risky, Apollo. Too true. Everyone's got an opinion, and they just talk, and nothing ever gets decided. Kind of like you, Apollo. I'm not that bad, am I? In any case, we're gonna give it a shot. A test, if you will. I don't like tests. We'll take a case as a sample and choose 6 jurists. I'll be the one helping with that process, incidentally. Helping how? Well, for one, I'll be the chair of the Jury System Simulated Court Committee. The chair constructs the ideal situation, choosing the case, the jurist candidates, even the judge in the courtroom. Wow, it's like you have a real job. I was never that good at the piano, to be honest. Once a lawyer, always a lawyer, I guess. The trial's tomorrow, by the way. Don't miss it. The trial simulation, that is. A simulation, huh? Sounds interesting. So, what kind of case is the trial simulation about? Well, since it's the first run-through of a new system, I wanted something simple. Good thinking. No sense wearing her out on something too serious. True. The case is a murder. That's not simple at all! By simple, did you mean that the defendant is... guilty? Yes, most likely. So, good luck, Apollo. With what? With the trial tomorrow. You're defending, of course. Recall that I said it had something to do with you. Go for it, Apollo. It's just a test case anyway, no sweat. Yeah, but there's still a verdict to be decided. And a potentially serious sentence, the most serious in a worst-case scenario. You mean the verdict's for real? That's not a test trial, that's a real trial! All the forms have been filed, there's no turning back now. The trial begins tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hope you can make room in your schedule. Why am I hearing about this only now? Ah, yes, there was a change this morning. I picked a new case. Eh? Something that happened last night. Hey, Sid! Only regular DS, not 3DS yet. We'll do 3DS at some point, but not... We're gonna do regular DS first. Hey, Apollo, I know you're all excited about the secret mission, but what about this? The Troop Gamma Ray Secret Grand Magician Show. Oh, right, the card tricks. They're not card tricks! They're grand illusion, miracles, the apocalypse. So, what? That's 3 whole days from now. It's at Sunshine Coliseum. Let's go. Let's go today. We can say hi to Uncle Valent. Have fun. What? I can't go by myself. You know I'm not very outgoing. Right. Why not go with her? But what about the secret mission? Oh, don't worry about that. You'll hear all about it tomorrow regardless. I don't trust that smile. He knows something that he's not telling me. Yippee! Now you can take me to the Coliseum. Sigh, I suppose it wouldn't kill me to pop over there. Ah, Grammar, that reminds me. What's this, Daddy? Is that the silk hat that the Grammar with the seal? Consider it a birthday present, Trucy. Thanks, it's great. But, today isn't my birthday. Good point. What day is it today, Apollo? Huh? Today? I think it's Recycle Your Plastics Day. Then it's a Recycle Your Plastics Day present. Yippee! So it's plastic. I've given up trying to understand them. It's much easier that way. So, what is it? Can I open it, Daddy? Whoa. Look at that look on it. That is the first time we have seen that look this entire game. No. Huh? You'll need that envelope someday. Someday soon. Don't open it until then. Well, why didn't you just hold on to it until then? Because that would be the logical thing to do. Thanks, Retro. Turnabout Serenade, yes. The sound mixer, yes. The fandom hates that case, is that right? Is that because they don't like seeing the video over and over and over again? I mean, to be fair, that is like definitely something that gets annoying. It does get replayed a lot, but I think the actual story of the case is not bad. With the one exception that Machi as a little kid should have blown out his arm if he shot the gun, so he really, you know what I mean? Like that was kind of a big, weird leap of logic. I'm counting them all as one game, but because I grabbed this number from someone else, I'm just gonna act as though I played all the versions. So when I beat Star Force Deluxe, I'm gonna count it as 3 games instead of 1. Same thing with like if I play Platinum version, I'll probably count it as 3 games. Only because I don't know how many versions of DS games there are. I don't know what the real actual number without versions are, so yeah. So that's how I'm gonna go about that. So what case are you gonna use? You really want to know, don't you? Of course I do. I mean, I'm gonna be defending, aren't I? If all goes well, then yes, of course, this is just a test. We wanted everyone to start without preconceptions, a blank slate as it were. There's a difference between having a blank slate and just being totally clueless. Whose dumb idea was that anyway? Well, mine. Committee chair, remember? Oh. Well, if you want to know that badly, I suppose. I could give you permission to examine the scene of the crime. Good. That's better. But you can't talk to anyone involved with the case. What? Then how am I supposed to defend? You let me worry about the details there. Remember, I'm in charge of this trial. All of it. But you don't want it to backfire, do you? Apollo. If I'm in charge of the whole trial, that means the entire affair is my responsibility. For good or for bad. Just do what you can. And don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Alright. I'd recommend going down to the detention center. Your client's waiting for you. You can ask about the scene there. But you just said I can't talk to anyone involved. Oh, you can talk to your client. If you can get her to talk. Well, time's a-wasting. Definitely gonna play Lunar Nights. Yes. Yes. I wonder if there's a definitive version of Lunar Nights where you can get the Star Force content. Because I've never played that. That'd be really fun to play. I'd like to play a definitive version if that's a real thing. Presenting, are we? I did my fair share of that back in the day. Showed my attorney's badge a lot, too. He may look cool and calm now, but you should have seen him before. You know me too well, Trucy. No? Kind of a bummer that he doesn't react to stuff like that. Honestly, Famous Xeno, for a lot of channel points, I mean a lot, you'd have to really save up for it, but you can select the next DS game I play. So I can go a little bit out of alphabetical order. How are we doing the collection games like Sonic Collection and Mega Man Zero? That's a great question. So here's the deal, Retro. I'm basically only playing... Like, 15 minutes is like the minimum I should play of any game. With games like those, I don't know that I'm going to beat all of them. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. It really depends. The Mega Man Zero collection, I would probably just want to play 03, maybe 04. I'm not like super stoked about 1 and 2. The Sonic collection's a great question. I mean, I'll probably play each of the games for like a good 15 minutes. That's probably how I'll go about it. I don't know. I haven't fully decided on that. Maybe I should complain. I'm sure that guard has better things to do than stand there pretending he doesn't see us. You know, the minute we get angry, the client will show. It always works that way. Like shouting, "Oh, waiter," and they're standing right behind you. "Oh, guard, is our client going to be much longer?" What are you talking about? Haven't you already started the meeting yet? Huh? Oh. Eek! Where'd you come from? Well, anyway, please have a seat. Only temporarily, Sid. Only temporary. I'm sorry. I took it off for the anniversary. I should bring it back. Someone should remind me to bring it back. Well, actually, the real reason is because I think it's being washed, but I do have to bring it back. I'm nervous, Apollo. It's the silence. Build suspense. Why don't you try to do something, Trucy? You're a magician, aren't you? That's right. Okay. I'm the amazing Mr. Hat. Thud. Eek! She passed out. Miss Magic Underwear might have been a better bet. That's Magic Panties, Apollo. Hey! Graphics card upgrade. What graphic cards did you get, Kirito? That's awesome. Well, I'm your defense. I really think this has to be fate, you know? And by fate, I mean destiny. You know I'm good with astrology. Tell me, what's your sign? I seem destined to get difficult clients, it seems. 3070! Nice! So, what's your name? Alright, I'm supposed to introduce myself first. I'm Apollo, Apollo Justice. And I'm Trucy Wright. I know. Hey, I know, maybe you can tell us what happened. I'm your defense attorney, after all. Anything out of the ordinary happened lately? Well, the other day this tourist from out of town stopped to ask me directions. Later, Trucy. I feel like I need to ask directions myself here. Well, that was fruitless. Though I think I understand despair a little bit better now. Look, she's doing her nails. What? Are nails more important than defense? Is that it? Let's go, Trucy. Excuse me. Could you read this? Sure. I feel like a teenager on a first date. And this is the love letter we pass from desk to desk at school. Stop looking so wistful and read it, Apollo. It's a business card with a name and an address. The name is Vera Mission. The address is for Drew's studio. And you're giving me this card because... Well, looks like we're finished here. I wonder if Drew's studio is the scene of the crime. Let's go find out. Buying it from a friend is really nice too. That way you get to hook your friend up. I love that. 3070 is pretty solid. Really solid stuff. Listen to this music. Wow, this sure looks like a studio. It's like life imitating art, or maybe it's the other way around. With the tape on the ground there, it's a bit jarring. Yeah, it looks like we found our crime scene. Paulo, look at all those paintings. Hey, don't touch those. It's alright, I'm just looking. They're pretty cool. These would be really cool to have real-life paintings of. I wonder if anyone's ever made these. Huh, Paulo, look at this one. Looks like it's half finished. You can still see the rough sketch underneath. But that's odd. The rough part doesn't look like the rest of the painting at all. Yeah, good point. That is odd. Drew Misham's paintings added to the court record. All the paintings have a really different style, too. I thought I might find you two here. Emma, long time no see. Oh? Seems like I run into you far too often. I'll bet I know why you're here, too. You know about the trial simulation tomorrow. I've heard about it, sure, so Mr. Wright chose you, huh? We don't even know what the case is about. Well, he was killed, the artist who owns the studio, that is. Mr. Drew Misham. And his daughter was put under arrest. Yeah, we just saw her at the detention center. It was funny, though. She seemed more like a victim than the kind of person who could commit murder. Not even by poisoning, that's how it was done, you know. Poisoning is a common way to get the job done when the murderer is a woman. Poisoning? Anyway, Mr. Wright told me you'd be coming. Feel free to take a look around. I'll just be over here with my snack-oos. We can't talk to anyone related to the case this time around, which means we better find out as much as we can here at the scene or else. Hey, Coco Bean, it's nice to see you. Coco Bean, I really got to thank you once again. This is the cutest thing in the whole world. I can't wait to display it more properly. Woohoo! This is it, Apollo. This is the place where magic and dreams converge. Just a while ago, it was the place where murders and nightmares converge. Wow! Only a performer laughs like that. The young Miss Trucy. How often I'd hoped we'd meet again, only to tell myself it was an impossible dream. Tee-hee, Uncle Valent. How's it going? I'm glad to see you, True. Of course you are. Humility is definitely not one of his stronger traits. Well, Miss Trucy, how does the day find you? If you've come to give me flowers, do it after the show, I beg you. Actually, we came to wish you good luck, and congratulations on your big magic show. Oh, but it is I who wish to congratulate you. Not everyone is so lucky as to witness miracles, such as the ones I perform. Yeah, you're amazing, we get it. The world will watch in wonderment as Magnifi's illusions are reborn, here on stage by my hand. Everyone's talking about that big magic show. Is it true the Grammar Miracle is back after a 7-year absence? Miss Truce, I must apologize. The show in his honor must have been his. My co-magician in training, Zach Grammari, if that terrible thing hadn't. It's okay. Your father was a great magician, Trucy. If he were alive, then I, Valent Grammari, would have been proud to stand upon his stage as his assistant. Thanks, Uncle Valent. You know, I'm happy you're doing the show. To think we get to see the great Magnifi's illusions again. She really is looking forward to this, isn't she? My mentor, the magnificent Magnifi Grammari, was a true deity among magicians, a creator god who gave birth to magic and illusions that defied our imaginations. I was so little when I saw the last one. He did wheelies in a sports car through the air above the audience, and then sped off to outer space. I'm guessing that memory was a bit embellished. For 7 long years, the world has been waiting for a miracle to match his. As heir to the Grammari Troop's secrets, it all falls on me to provide one. That is my God-given destiny. Yes, you, nameless face who speaks for the nameless masses. How can I help you? If the world is waiting, why'd you hold off for 7 long years? It appears the lad is uninformed. Perhaps you have heard of the magic known as the law, which governs our land. I have, though I'm not sure it qualifies as magic. A certain law prevented it for 7 years, but no more. 7 years, that phrase sure likes to hop up, doesn't it? And why was that? A little matter known as performance rights, Miss Trucy. Can you tell us about these performance rights? Magnifi's magic relied on an incredibly innovative idea, a trick, if it were. That trick was considered his property, and as such was protected by laws. Magnifi knew this and bequeathed it in his will to one person. You mean him? Yes, Miss Trucy. It was your father. Zach Grammari was the inheritor of the Grammari Miracle. Daddy. Yet, as you well know, he is gone. He disappeared suddenly 7 years ago. I think I see where the story is going. Once a person is classified missing for a certain period of time, they're considered legally deceased, correct? In all absoluteness, those rolled-up sleeves conceal your competence well, young man. That certain period of time of which you speak is 7 years. Yes, Miss Trucy. Though it pains me to say it, the past spring, April to be precise, your father was legally declared deceased. In the absence of a formal will, the secrets of our mighty mentor passed to me. This was in fact stipulated in the will by Magnifi himself. Is that how it works, Apollo? Yeah, it's called death in absentia. He's declared missing permanently. So how would he react if we showed her this? I was wondering if you could tell me about this. Aha! Why, this bears the Grammari seal! Uncle Valent, is something wrong? Trucy! Where did you get this? Huh? Daddy gave it to me. Your daddy! My partner, No, my other daddy, Phoenix Wright. Why now? Why would your Lord Daddy? Lord Daddy? That's kind of stretching the whole archaic thing a bit. This signature upon the back. You recognize it. That belongs to none other than Zach Ramurai. What? Daddy signed this? Might I be so bold as to open it? I'm sorry, but I can't let you do that. What's in this envelope, I wonder? She got two daddies. Don't even have one. Well, she's got her biological daddy, and then she's got her, taking care of her daddy. So, this Drew Misham was some kind of artist? Apparently, did a lot of illustrations for books, I hear. Had a lot of female fans, too, for what it's worth. Oh, well, I guess this stuff is kind of pretty. Like that oil painting over there, for instance. Yeah. That wasn't one of his illustrations, actually. He was an odd bird, Misham. Hadn't shown his face to anyone till the end. What do you mean, to anyone? He was always locked up here in the studio, apparently. His only connection to the outside world was through letters he'd put in that letterbox over there. Letters? Do people write them? What do you mean, Apollo? I mean, when was the last time you wrote a real letter? Don't most people use email and stuff these days? Not Mr. Misham. Couldn't stand technology, it seemed. He did everything by mail. Maybe he thought that way was more artistic, you know? In any case, the only person beside him allowed in here was his daughter, Vera. Oh, you mean the killer. The suspect, please. We took some fingerprints, of course. The only ones found in the room were Mr. Misham's and Vera's, basically. Actually, last night, Mr. Misham gave an interview to a reporter for the first time. It happened during the interview, apparently. His first interview ever? Could you tell us a bit more about what happened that night? Like I said, last night was the first time someone from the outside came into the studio. I guess mysterious painters who never go outside make for good articles. It just so happened that he died the night of his first interview. That is a crazy, suspicious thing. At around 9 p.m. every night, Vera always made him a cup of coffee. Last night he drank his usual coffee and suddenly became violently ill. And died? She poisoned him on the night of his interview. Wouldn't the reporter see? He wasn't near Mr. Misham when she brought her father his coffee. He was checking out some equipment in the back of the room. Supposedly, that's why she didn't notice he was there. It was the reporter who called the police, in fact. Wait, but why is she the suspect? If anyone is suspicious, it's the reporter. Yet the reporter never got near Mr. Misham's coffee. Even Vera acknowledges that. Regardless, I want to know more about this reporter. So this woman, Vera, she's Mr. Misham's daughter, right? Yep, a real sickly girl ever since she was little. Hardly ever went outside. She did kind of give up a withdrawn sort of aura. Hey there, Yabuki. Am I pronouncing that right? It is a great case. So I've beaten this game before, probably 15 years ago, Yabuki, I'm sorry. And it's been a real pleasure replaying Apollo Justice. I think this is one of the best in the series, really. Have you played most of the Ace Attorney games? She was screaming about how she'd die if they took her outside. That does sound like a scene. In the end, she agreed to leave if she was allowed her good luck charm. Her good luck charm? Apparently, she has this charm that magically gives her the courage to go outside. Why can't I ever get a normal client? But why would a shut-in daughter kill her own dad? Don't look at me. So about the poison, it was found in his coffee, right? No, not precisely. What does that mean? Alright, time to start examining. Shingo, sounds good. Waiting for the chance to play the third. Ooh. That's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited to play the Greatest Attorneys one day. There's a painting hidden back here. What if it's embarrassing somehow and he didn't want anyone to see it? He certainly seemed pleased by the possibility. It's so normal. It's hardly something to get mad about. Huh? What is it, Apollo? Well, does this painting look like... Well, never mind. It's a great series. It's a great series, Shingo. I actually have a fun collection of, Ace Attorney stuff. I can't wait to make a video and talk about that a little bit more. Alright, you see the cup of coffee. Ah, that's the victim's coffee mug. So the poison was in here. It's my first time seeing a real poison mug of coffee. Poison coffee? Not exactly, actually. No traces of poison were found in the coffee. You'll have to figure out the rest yourself. I'm officially not on your side, after all. Alright, let's take a peek at these paintings over here. I wouldn't mind taking a closer look. Marvel's Capcom, that's fun. Yeah, because Phoenix was a character you could play as, right? In like the Ultimate series, I think. Was it Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3? These paints are all dry. I'm surprised at how different these all are. Yeah, and what's going on with this half-finished one? Must have been a work in progress. You can still see the rough sketch somehow. That's what's so weird. The sketch part doesn't really fit the finished parts. That is weird. Let's take a look at his envelope, his mailbox. That letterbox looks funny sitting in a room like this. Let's take a look. Empty. The other half of that letterbox is actually connected to the outside of the studio. Mr. Mission would put his letters in there, and the postman would take them away. Impressive that someone still writes letters in today's day and age. Or wrote, rather. I would love to have more, like pen pals with people. I think like, real-life letters are pretty fun. Take a closer look at the desk. Alright, what's inside this little desk? This envelope has been opened and resealed. Ooh, yeah, I know how to do that. You take a pot of boiling water, you hold the envelope up to the steam, the glue melts and it opens. Looks like they even ripped it open and just stuck it back together. The postmark on this letter is from 7 years ago. Why would someone open a letter, then seal it again? Better hang on to this. Look at this tiny frame, Apollo. Tiny's right. That thing's barely 2 inches high. What picture would fit in that? Wait, what's wrong with saying I want more pen pals? What's wrong with that? Is that I mean, I'm not doxing myself, right? Oh! Well, you could. You could. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I love letters. Maybe one day I'll get a PO box and I'll make that public. Oh, are you in Mexico, Shingo? You live in a border. You see lots of UPSs. It's a huge contrast to your own city's lack of places. Oh, interesting. Wow. You know, I've never been to Mexico, even though I live pretty close to the border. Well, maybe not so close to the border, but... Isn't that a pen? Like an old-fashioned pen? But it doesn't have a pointy end. That was most likely for sweeping wow, detritus. What a word. Wow, you sure know a lot, Emma. Bold and scientific. That's my motto. Not exactly bold or scientific. So I think we look at that little frame. Some of the way that figure is posed. I've seen that pose before. It's you, Apollo. See, you're making one of your flamboyant gestures. Please, I am a professional. I wonder why it's posed like that. Is this a journal? Talk about a clue. Let's read it. Hair is not yellow or brown. Just the areas close to downtown. If I were to ever visit Mexico, what are the places I should definitely see? I know Cancun is like the nice resort area. But I wonder, what do you think are some fun, cool places? I should really visit some point. I mean, I live in California, so I should really... I feel like there's no excuse not to. What's all this equipment here for? It doesn't look very artistic, really. He had everything from a lathe to a laser cutter. Looks like he was ready to work on metals and wood, too. Though his equipment's a bit old, to tell the truth. Why would a painter need all this? I'd say he hasn't used this stuff in years. The corner doesn't fit with the rest of the studio. I want to cut a quarter in half. These cost like $50 at the magic shop. Is this test for painting, Apollo? That'd be for drafting. Basically, it's a tool for making precise diagrams. Wow, painting's harder than I thought. Why would a painter need a drafting table? Was he an architect too? Oh, I did that already, didn't I? I was thinking these tanks were something, but I guess not. Okay, we already talked about this. You know, the last time I think I saw Mexico in a show or movie that I really thought about was Cobra Kai. Does anyone know when the final season of Cobra Kai comes out? Okay, these look like poisons or something out in the back here. Little device that can replace your Go Plus, automatically spin them. Oh, was that the gacha famous? Is that the gacha? The gacha's really helpful. Kirito, it's so good. You really should. When it comes out, I might stream it on Discord. I'd be really hyped to see it. Okay, I guess we've done enough examining in this area. There's quite a bit to examine, I will say. Maybe I should present the other painting. Emma, I was wondering about this painting here. Ah, that one. What about it? Yeah, what about it, Apollo? Take a closer look, both of you. Look at this one. Other side of the country for you. You heard Guadalajara is great. Actual Mexico City. You're next to El Paso. How is El Paso? Or Juarez? I bet you there are, Shingo. I honestly, like, at least for me in California, I know a lot of Latino players, which I think is really cool. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were a decent amount in Mexico. Who are your favorite Battle Network net navies? Wow, it's pretty good. How about some favorite Ace Attorney characters, too? Copying a painting. So, Emma, about this coffee mug. Hope you're not trying to grill me for info. You know I'm not talking. I suppose you are the detective here. Why don't you two take a look yourselves? If you find a clue, I might not be unwilling to lend a hand. I think she's gonna help us, Apollo. Alright, so we're gonna check out the mug. Aha. Aquaman and Heatman, I love it, Budokai. How are you, man? That's the... Speaking of Budokai, are you excited for Budokai Tenkaichi 4? I think the English name is like Sparking Zero or something. That must be Blue Mountain stuff we've been hearing about. Let me tell you, even Blue Mountain copy isn't that blue. Better ask Emma. Emma, about this mug. There's a pale blue residue on the rim. Oh, yes, well, it's just a rumor. But I've heard there's a kind of coffee called Blue Mountain. Pretty sure it isn't actually blue, Emma. Right. You got me. That's left over from my testing spray. Forensic science. It's not a hobby. So what kind of scientific stuff were you up to today? This spray, that's what it turns blue when it touches poison. So the poison that killed the victim on this mug? That's right. It wasn't in the coffee. The killer applied it to the rim of the mug itself. Certainly is helpful. Maybe Emma would be willing to help us out a bit more. They say flatter will get you everywhere. Oh, Django's cool. You know, it's funny, I wouldn't think of Django, but I respect it. And actually, I have some pretty cool Boktai stuff myself. If anyone's got a show and tell, I've got a cool thing to show off. I wonder if I should show up the letterbox. Emma, I was wondering if we could take a look. A detective. You can't just ask me any old thing and expect an answer. Yeah, Roll's awesome. I love that Roll heals you for a decent amount, too. That's always fun. Roll V3, I think, is an underrated ship in Battle Network 6 PvP. Oh, an HD collection would be very cool. Don't forget, Flatter will get you everywhere with the Apollo. What are you two whispering about? Okay, here we go. I see it, folks. Check it out. It seems like Shingo's a Boktai fan, so I wanted to show off. I have got a real-life official Gun Del Sol squirt gun. This is full-on in the box. I can take it out ever so gently. Check it out, y'all. I don't know if I'm going to take it all the way out, but I think it's super cool. The power of the sun, indeed. Imagine if you filled this up with Sunny D and you shot Sunny D at your friends. That would be a lot of sunlight. Anyway, fun stuff. Hey there, Kai. So nice to see you. We got Outlaw, too. How's everyone doing? We are doing the final case of Apollo Justice. Thanks, Kirito. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I probably will end up selling this. So if anyone does want it, DM me. Otherwise, I'll probably just throw it up on eBay at some point. But yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm selling most of my collection to fund more YouTube editing. I really want to get more serious this year. I've got a lot of fun ideas for IRL stuff. We're doing all the DS games. I really want this to be a year of like putting in a bit of an extra mile. And if I got to sell my stuff to do it, I got to do it, you know? No, Budokai, not at all, man. Not at all. You came at the right time. It's the final one. Oh, Kai, it's so good, aren't they? Why is it we always run into it at the crime scene? You know me too well. Okay, meaning we can get some scientific stuff? Oh, I suppose. Just this once. Bring me anything you find suspicious and we'll check it out. Emma is so cute. I love her lab coat and everything. She's actually just awesome. I really like how they brought her back from 7 years ago in the Ace Attorney one. That's right, Kai. We sure do. I love that you love it, Shingo. I brought it out just for you. I figured you'd appreciate it. Talking about Django. Wow, that one. What about it? What about it? Hold on a second. There we go. Wait, is that right? I'm trying to make sure that these are like kind of balanced with each other. They're like almost balanced. There we go. What about it? Yeah, what about it, Apollo? Take a closer look. As Ace Attorney 6 is Spirit of the Law, I think. Shingo, the only ones that I haven't played are the Great Ace Attorney games, both of them, and then the Japanese Miles Edgeworth game. I played all the others. I haven't seen the anime either. Cha was talking about that earlier today. That'd be really fun to check out. Yes, why that's a bright red envelope. She sure is jumpy. Someone opened this, didn't they? My lips are sealed. Your lips are sealed? That's a first. You mean you know what's inside the envelope? Sure, I read it after all. You mean you were the one who ripped this open? Ha, please, I would have steamed it open. But you did sneak a peek at it, apparently. Look at that smile. Know that I have a powerful weapon on my side. Weapon? Yes, the use of tools, highly specialized tools for info gathering. I'm gonna get that smile of hers. It really does need an English release. I was kind of hoping we'd get it in this last collection. They say a little praise can open big doors. Oh, I forgot that she got her dream fulfilled in Ace Attorney 6. You're right, Shingo. I actually completely forgot about that. Because I remember, I don't think she was in Dual Destinies. I think it was mostly Detective Fulbright. She may have had a cameo. I don't remember if she was in Dual Destinies. I wonder if you could help us out with that tool you were mentioning. You want to know about my tool, do you? It's called an X-ray analyzer. That's right. At least that's what I call it. It has a real name, but it's much more complicated. The X-ray specialization. Something. How am I supposed to remember all that? So basically it lets you see inside things, like envelopes. That's right, you're sharp, Trucy. But it's a bit more complicated than that in practice, of course. Actually, to tell you the truth, I'm not really sure how it works scientifically. I love that she just says scientifically. What a weapon. Yar! What are you doing? Oh, it just seemed like it could see through your hair, but it's like lead. Point that thing at me anymore and I might fall out. Then I would need an X-ray machine to see through it. I would definitely want voice acting Kirito. But also, it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. I happen to have a lottery ticket right here. It would not be a deal breaker for me, but it would be really cool to have voice acting. You set the sample in the device like so. Patience, there's no need to get all antsy. Look at the right side of the screen. That's the layer view. Layer view. You got it set to display on the outside of the envelope. Turn that dial there for me, would you? That's right. That's how you choose what depth you have to scan. Hey, I got something. See, that's so you can read letters on the ticket inside. Except I can't read them. Turn the dial just a little bit more. What you have to understand is that a sheet of paper isn't really flat. When you zoom in that much, you see the paper is like a bunch of hills and valleys. This X-ray device uses a beam with a wavelength of only 0.05 microns. It breaks cards down into thin layers. I'm not entirely following you, but what good is it if you can't read anything? That's where we go on to step 2. Try rubbing the image a bit if you would. Yeah, that's fun. BN5, Program Advance. Life Sword. Oh, I see. We gotta rub it in. Gotta give it a good old rub. There. That fixes the image on the screen. Now turn the dial again, just a little. Now you can rub the image to fix it too. We just keep doing this until we got the whole thing. Exactly. Not bad. This is pretty involved. It's actually kind of hard to use the stylus here. Come on, we can read that, right? Big winner? Emma's a big winner of the lottery? Okay, let's print this out. Woohoo! I'm a big winner! See? This is the true hidden power of my weapon. Now let's try it out on the real thing, shall we? I'm with you, Yoshihine. And actually, I feel the same way about Dual Destinies. I mean, we got like little cameos of like Gavin and stuff, but Dual Destinies feels kind of disconnected from Apollo Justice. Like, I kind of wish they acknowledged Phoenix as a bum more. There was really only one scene where Apollo's like, he thinks about Phoenix in his little bum outfit. You know? In fact, I kind of wish Phoenix remained more of a mentor than, like, an actual attorney again, but, you know, that's just me. I'm sure there are people who enjoy seeing him back, and it is nice to see him back. I just wish, it just feels kind of hand-wavy with this game, you know? That's my take. I don't know what the rest of the series fans think. Mr. Drew Misham, I've deposited the 100,000 in the designated account. Someone deposited 100,000. His paintings must be really valuable. There's another page in there. Care to take a look? If you're gonna read someone's mail, you might as well read it all. Yeah, exactly. You got a little bit of that. You do get a little bit of him. But even so, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like none of that personality is there. Well, I think that's probably fine, because, like, having a job can definitely make you change as a personality, like, have your personality change, but it just feels kind of disjointed, I guess, is my thought. I didn't really care for Dual Destinies that much, if I'm being honest. Let's print it out. Paulo needed more games. So, it was a letter about his payment. Why all the secrecy, though? And what? Why was this letter the only one in here? It's 7 years old, right? Maybe it had some special significance to him. Well, Emma, well indeed. She knows something she's not telling us. Looks like she's keeping mum about it. Let's let's show off the other paintings, right? Okay, I guess she won't let me do it. Gohan deserved better. It does sound kind of like it retro. Poor Gohan, honestly. Poor Gohan. He, Emma, about this painting. Oh, that? Quite good, isn't it? That's not what I wanted to ask you about. You want to examine it, is that it? I'll be happy to let you if you had a good reason. But without that, sorry. Guess she wants us to do a little footwork on our own first. Apollo, look at this painting. You can see the rough sketch. It was only half completed. They do, actually. What's that all about? Yeah, I was actually watching a great video the other day where the guy was like, look, like, you know, making Gohan a pacifist, like, kind of goes contrary to, like, the way that he fought throughout the whole series. Okay, I guess they're still not letting me. But even without that, I still think he was pretty cool. I really hate that, like, they kind of wrote him. I guess it's just weird to me that, like, Gohan started being the main character at the start of Buu, and then, like, he didn't do anything important. Like, that's what's really weird to me. Like, they really hyped up Gohan as, like, the most powerful, exciting guy, and it reverted back to, like, fully the Goku Vegeta show, which is the same as Super, really. Like, that something's never changed, do they? Examine this. Oh, here we go. This painting. That story where the old woman is going to wash down the river as giant Peach comes a-floating down. That's right, they hype going Mystic Form, exactly. Like, why was Mystic Form even a thing? Honestly, Shivlo, it's more narrative than not. This is more a visual novel than anything else, if I'm being honest. But to be fair, this is probably the most, how do I say this? It feels like the most action-packed visual novel. Like, it doesn't feel like a visual novel, even though it pretty much is, because there's a lot of, like, actions you take. If that makes any sense. About the poison analysis. See, this solution is used to test for atraquine. Atraquine. The deadly poison found in the autopsy. Have more emotions than the images. Oh, that'd be cool. I would like that, Kira. It's a little more refined. That's great. Toriyama just wanted to get paid. Kinda need a way to use the old Kai. But even the old Kai, like, he didn't end up doing that much, right? Like, the Z-Sword didn't do anything. Like, which was a funny joke, by the way. But the Z-Sword didn't do anything. And then Mystic Gohan definitely didn't do anything. So it's like, what the heck? You don't have to ask twice. I already used it on everything suspicious, of course. Let's give it a whirl, Apollo. Ah! What are you doing? I was just seeing if I got a reaction off you. How's this for a reaction? Never do that again. I'm not poisonous. Tell that to those hapless witnesses on the stand. Alright. So what should we examine for poison? You would think the mug would be reacting. I remember poison being in some of these areas, but I guess... I don't know, I feel like I'm doing everything suspicious. Am I crazy here? I feel like I basically lit up this entire area. Too bad, no reaction. I'm sure Emma checked out all the likely spots. Wait a second. Did you spray that little desk over there? Okay, here we go. Spray probably can't reach that far. Okay, there you go. Okay, so there, you had to fail it, I guess. There we go. There we go. I remember that. The Z-sword was a joke that Beerus pulled out. Yeah, that's true. Ah, wait, where? The inside of that cute little frame, look. Why would you look at that? Nice going, Trucy. I'm known to work magic. Never mind that I was the one who found it. Why would the inside of that frame have poison on it? Looks like we found the only place that was poison in any case. So Emma, I was wondering, what's the story about this reporter that came here for a story that night? I'm afraid I can't tell you because he's going to be a witness tomorrow. I thought so. And I'll never forget that face, but... What was his name? Oh, right. Brushel. That's right, this guy's funny, he's like a dentist. He's after a scoop to sell it. So the reporter comes in on his first interview ever, and that same night he's killed. Doesn't that seem strange to you? It does raise a few questions. I'd like to speak with this reporter if I could. Well, I hear he's on the beat today, too. He said something about covering a magician. Well, if it's not Trucy, that leaves only one other person. Yeah, something like that. He's got some big show lined up, I hear. So he's out interviewing Valiant Grammari. Yeah, the auto zoom, yeah. You know, I will say this. I know people like to bash on Dragon Ball GT, but I think the idea of having a downside and a punishment for using the Dragon Balls was a really smart idea. And Super Saiyan 4 is like 80 times cooler than Super Saiyan Blue. It looks cooler, it's like, the concept is better. You know what I mean, y'all? Y'all feel me? So a journalist was here for a story? All lies in the universe are on my stage. All pens seek to commit its mysteries to paper. His name was Brushel. Brushel. I think he remembers him. He doesn't look too happy about it. Brushel, that cloying smell of mint while he smiles, yes. Could you tell us more about him? What did he want? Yeah, right? Ending a Boost Saga. The Dragon Balls are absolutely busted. Dragon Balls are like, we can like wish literally all of humanity back. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just now. Valen's vision is always towards tomorrow. His feet always step forward. That is all. That's all. Very confusing. I am to perform a big magic show, yes? I wanted someone to cover it. Yet he had ears only for that incident. What incident? In any case, I requested that rapacious reporter remove himself. So a painter has died, what of it? It's but a footnote in the footlights compared to the magic of Grammari. I recommended he visit that place popular with penalized perpetrators. The detention center. He was a rude individual. Might I see that card? Sure. He would tear apart my respectability and will tear apart him. Oh, here it comes, Apollo. It's this big magic trick. Is it gonna fix the card? What happened to the big magic? Ha 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 ha! It is not more miraculous for it to stay ripped. He must have really not liked that journalist. Now the time has come when I must make my prestidigitation preparations. By your leave, Miss Trucy. Thanks, Uncle Valiant. 3 days from now, make ready for a miracle. What do you think that journalist was after? And why did Valiant react like that to the envelope? I think it's time to pay the detention center another visit. Right, I kind of forgot about Pen. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah. I think, again, the idea of them, like, having ape mastery is, like, way cooler than freaking Super Saiyan Blue. Not to mention, Blue just looks dumb. Blue hair does not really look that cool. No, not at all. Looks like someone's already meeting here. Maybe that reporter? There he is. Look at that brushel. I love that he's not a dentist. Hey there, how are ya? Who might you be? Sorry, we didn't know someone was already here. I'm Apollo Justice, attorney at law. Talk about a nervous monkey. You're Justice, you? You know me? Do I know you? Of course I know you. Stares down witnesses on stand till they spill beans. End quote. That's not true. What's he writing? Are you a reporter by any chance? You're Trucy. Am I famous? Oh yeah. Trucy Wright hates carrying a bag. Puts everything she owns in her panties. End quote. Eek, that's so not true. Just hold on to your breeches there. I'll wrap up this interview in a jiffy. Interview? So guard, I think I know what's going on here. Guarding rooms is my life. What else could I possibly need? End quote. No, how many times do I have to tell you this? Look, I got work to do. You deal with him. Did you come here to interview the guard? Oh, what a pickle. Accused wouldn't talk, had to interview someone or go plumb crazy, end quote. Yeah, I'm with you, Budokai. Where's my manners? Name's Brushel, Spark Brushel. I'm not picky, journalist just closes eyes, writes, end quote. What's that nauseatingly strong mint smell every time he grins? Until you interview by me, you don't know what thrilling is. Wild romp through crossroads of mayhem, madness, end quote. I can see that. He's writing something again. Well, if he's a reporter, maybe he knows something. I have to say, the concept of a dentist interviewer, I think, is really fun. So, Mr. Brushel, you're a journalist? His whole face is uncomfortable. Yes. Let me state one thing for the record here. I'm the interviewer, you understand? I'm the one asking the questions here, end quote. Okay. For instance, you think a movie director watches movies? Well, I think he probably does. Exactly, I knew you'd understand. Huh? So, the night of the murder, you were at Drew's studio? Who, me? Look, let me state one thing for the record. I may look calm and collected, but I'm busy, real busy, always on the road. Journalist always buys one-way tickets, never looks back. End quote. I can understand that philosophy, but... You want to know the one thing about one-way tickets? Once you use them, they're gone. All because you have to give them to the guy at the airport. True enough. Yeah, I'm really curious to see Daima, considering Toriyama's really excited about it. Getting an NYC says Cool's Chips? Wait, are you talking to the NYC people, Cha? Are you there? That's fun. We gotta do something when I'm at MomoCon. Why didn't they reuse him? I mean, he's definitely an ugly one, Shingo, that's for sure. I do think they went to blue pretty quickly. I think Goku should have stayed. He should have stayed Super Saiyan God for longer. So you want to do a story on Drew Mishram and he never had a story done about, huh? That's right. Look, let me say one thing for the record here. I'm sure you're gonna want to know about my source. What tipped me off to Drew? Why do the interview in the first place? Well, yeah. Look, it's like, oh, I've got it. Say there's a burger joint with fabulous ketchup. You think the burger guy's gonna tell me where he got it? I think I may have actually understood that one. Well, there's nothing I can talk about, really. Walls have ears, eyes, especially glass walls with speakers, end quote. Right, guess we'll leave then. But since you're here, might as well tell you about a tidbit of news I saw just for the heck of it. I remember it like it was yesterday. I had seen a movie on a trip and wandered into this burger place with amazing ketchup when an article in a tabloid caught my eye. Famous oil painting stolen from art dealer's gallery, end quote. An oil painting? Happens every day, right? But I thought I'd seen that painting somewhere before. A painting of a giant peach floating down a river. Look at that sniff. Look at him sniffing. Someone stole an oil painting of a giant peach. Journalists can smell scoop better than burgers, end quote. Oh man, he is crazy. Alright, let me go on the record here. I know what you're gonna say. Brushel, take this, write brilliant column, end quote. Look, buddy, I write brilliant columns about one thing, and that's food. Alright, wait, I can't show up the, the painting? Wait, that's weird. You'd think I would be able to examine this? Yeah, Super Saiyan Rose is actually not a bad idea. That was kind of cool for the evil version of it. That's true, like a Master Roshi could get it, right? Master Roshi could unlock Super Saiyan Ultra Instinct. Or not Super Saiyan, just Ultra Instinct. Actually, there was one thing I wanted to check with you. What's with that scary face you're making? And what's with the I know something, but I'm not going to tell you face? Ultra Instinct Yamcha? This painting came from behind the dresser. It was stolen, no? I was hoping you wouldn't figure that out. Do you think you could tell us a little bit about it? I suppose. It's what you think. True Mission was a forger. A forger? This music. So, what exactly is a forger? That should be a what if form in Sparking Zero, yes. Did anyone ever play the original Budokai? I always thought the Krillin cell was a really funny concept. Exact copies so precise you can't tell them apart. Why not just photocopy them? The big problem with forgeries is that people try to sell them as the real article. It's a crime, of course. So Drew Misham was a criminal, I'm afraid so. He received money to create elaborate forgeries to supplement his work in illustration, I guess. Actually, that's why I brought this in here in the first place. When you're trying to determine if a painting is a forgery, the rough sketch underneath can be a valuable clue. What were the what-if forms in Dragon Ball Heroes? Yeah, Krillin Cell exactly, Outlaw Vessel, yeah. They show Master Roshi's ability to do something very close to Ultra Instinct. Oh, very cool. I hear the manga's a lot better than the anime, Shingo. I know they're pretty different. At least with Super. I hear they're pretty different. Oh my gosh, SSJ4 Broly sounds crazy. The weird owl man, is that King? Are you talking about King? Or is that someone different? Should try buttering her up, Apollo. Flattery will get you everywhere, they say. Oh, a GT Gotenks! Like an actually grown-up Gotenks? That sounds kind of cool. Emma. I have this painting from behind the dresser. It's what you think. Drew Mission was a forger. I kind of wanted to see the rough sketch underneath this painting. And I was wondering if your tool there might do the trick. Oh, fine, fine. Just this one time, though. It's called SSJ4 Limit Breaker Broly. I wonder how they do this part in the remasters. Shingo, have you played the remasters of Apollo Justice? Because this is the DS version. I'm curious how they do these minigame parts. If they even included them, or if they just kind of made them their own thing. There's something really satisfying about this little minigame, though, I've got to say. Okay, let's print it out. What? What the heck? Wow, he really blows. The finished painting isn't anything like the rough. Devices like mine didn't exist until recently. He probably thought he could draw any sort of thing he wanted for the rough. What do you mean? Well, in the past, you could only analyze the composition of a rough sketch. In other words, the traces of charcoal between paint and canvas. So you could tell if there had been a rough sketch, but not what it looked like. I think I follow you. So in essence, it wouldn't matter what was underneath the finished painting. Some pros would actually paint out a rough sketch entirely, then do a completely new painting on top of that. So Mr. Mission was drawing whatever he wanted before he was painting over them? Possibly. Is there a problem with that? Not particularly, but something about that sketch is kind of odd. You're awfully silent all of a sudden, Apollo. Think we could check out the other paintings? Well, sure. You like this detection stuff, don't you? Wait, is that right, Famous? The manga's continuing? I thought it was on a big hiatus, but I guess there's gonna be a weekly super manga now? Is that it? We'll finally figure out the deal with Frieza Black, who seems like the absolute ultimate villain. Apparently, Frieza trained in a different hyperbolic time chamber for quite a while. And that's how he got to be Frieza Black. Crazy stuff. Okay, let's print this one out. This one too! What's wrong, Apollo? You look so serious all of a sudden. Can I look at the last of these? Fine by me, knock yourself out. Well, I don't know about a break. Maybe break is not the right word. But it felt like it had been a while. Oh, so maybe they've just been doing superhero in the manga? Is that why there hasn't been like an advance in the story? I'm hyped to see more of Orange Piccolo. And Beast Gohan seems like it's probably has the potential to be one of the strongest forms ever. I watched a YouTube video where someone said that Beast Gohan is stronger than Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, which is absolutely crazy. The fusion of Goku and Vegeta. Yeah, I'm so glad Piccolo finally got more love. Dragon Piccolo would have been a cool name. What the heck is all this? I hesitate to ask why you're getting so excited. You sure device isn't leaking some sort of radiation? Trucy, look at these 3 sketches. Do you notice anything? Yep, Orange Piccolo's his name. Full stop. Ah! They're... Now you're both white as sheets. What's going on? These sketches are of the 3 cases I worked on. What? The murder in the poker room at the Borscht Bowl Club. The dead man pulling the noodle stand. And then... the events that transpired during the Governor's concert. What could it mean? How could he have painted those things? And why? That's what I want to know. Wait, is Drew Misham your father? Give me a break. Does that even seem remotely possible to you? I never even heard of any Drew Misham before. I hadn't even seen a picture of him. But those were my cases drawn on his canvas. Every single one of them. It couldn't have been a coincidence. Just who was this Drew Misham? And what did he have to do with me? Now this is the exciting stuff. Going to court. You know, King Piccolo in Japanese, the title Great Demon King Piccolo. Great Dragon Piccolo. Oh, that'd be cool. Diarrhea Piccolo. Oh, man. Why do we all have better ideas than Toriyama? Good morning. So, you're Pharaoh, right? I'm Trucy. Trucy Wright. That's right with a W, but not right, okay? We're on your side. You can tell us anything, please. Good morning. She speaks. Not bad, not bad. But I think you do better with a little smile, you know? You're so pretty. You need to sell yourself, you know? Shrusi, let's take it easy for starters. Thank you for taking my case. Oh, she's actually really cute. Okay, well, that's a start, I guess. There she goes with a nail polish again. That's great, really. It's so cultured. Wanna try? Ooh, really? Ah, girls. That victim Drew Mission was a forger. And a stolen painting was found in his studio. A life of crime, really. And maybe one that led to his death. I'm with you, Kirito. I wish that you know what I wish they did? Because Piccolo really, he kind of created the Dragon Balls, right? Like, part of, like, Kami and being split and all that. Like, the lore is that he actually basically did it, right? So I feel like it would have been cool if Shenron really acknowledged that. Maybe he did. I didn't actually watch Superhero, but I feel like if they acknowledged that, like, this was like him coming full circle, I think that would have been kind of cool. Otherwise, yeah, wishing for your power is kind of lame. The mission. Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy and he's looking around nervous like. Ahem. The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time and may indeed alter our legal system forever. Today is a test of the jurist system and the first step towards a new order in our courts. Daddy's secret mission. The jurists will function like a jury. It is hoped that their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will. Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch the courtroom at all times. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurists, judge well and judge cool. Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin, I was going to say that. My apologies, Herr Judge. Ahem, jurists, today. To judge today's trial coolly, if you would be so kind. They're unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings. And we're about to find out what sort of effect they're gonna have. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin, the detail of the case, if you would. Oh, that's funny, Shingo, I love it. Wait, I never saw the Lord Slug movie. What was it? Was he a Namekian? What was his deal? None other than the defendant Verum Misham. There wasn't any poison in the coffee. Aktang, someone's been doing their homework. Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself. The mug! Ah, residue was found on the rim, I see. The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death. According to the report, the victim's death was caused by atropine poisoning, a chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of it in the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe. He supposedly did the same thing that Piccolo and Kami did, like he split himself? What, I have for you a simple man for a simple case. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. That journalist, no doubt. He was dealt with like the albino Namekians? I don't understand what you guys are saying about Lord Slug. I'm with you though, Kirito. The stakes do seem low in Super. Well, you know what it is? I mean, it's a lot of stuff, right? It's like Goku being dumbed down as a huge part of it. Because, like, the tension of DBZ is so strong. Like, the seriousness of it is, like, really, like, apparent. I dislike conclusions, specifically the jumping of aspects to conclusions. But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday. Well, that's true, yes, but you must understand I stand before you today as a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for the exclusive rights to a story. Scoop turns Mr. Brushel into that Mr. Brushel. End quote. A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury is still out. I visited the studio around 9 o'clock that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier Journalist history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next? Star falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time. That does sound like a simple case, unless you were the one who poisoned him. What are you saying, Judge? Ahem. Need I remind you, the cameras are rolling today. I felt the need to be a bit dramatic. You didn't do it, did you? Me doing a thing like that? Come on, that's like newsmaker making the news, end quote, or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusations rock courtroom. Haha, rock indeed. Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun. I'm so happy for him. Well, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. I'm with you too, Famous. Started so strongly and fumbled every step. Even the ending of like, we're just gonna totally wipe this timeline from existence. Like, what the heck? I visited the studio around 9 o'clock that night. The first outsider to enter the atelier. 9 o'clock at night? Isn't that a little late for an interview? If the great painter says come at 9, believe you me, I go at 9. The first, as it turned out, last interview with a prolific painter. Can you tell us what it was like when you arrived? His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. Would you mind being a little more specific? Ooh-wee, let me tell you, I enjoy a cuppa. In fact, it all began when I was in 3rd grade. No, wait, 4th grade. That's not what I meant. I believe I know what hair forehead is driving at. This coffee the drip the victim was served. Did anyone other than the defendant touch it? Well, now if you got a question to ask, you better straight up ask it. That's what I tell the new recruits several times if necessary. Write for a grade schooler. That's my motto. Which isn't to say I can only write grade... That's true. The power scaling is very dumb in Super. I watched a whole video on that today, actually. Like, for example, as much as we love Master Roshi, the jump from DBZ Master Roshi to Super Roshi is insane. Or like Androids 17 and 18, like basically not training at all and like being basically on par with like Super Saiyan 4. Star falls. It's like an old telegram. How about star breaks? I know, star dies. You go with Drew dies, straight into the points. Let's hear more about the Stars Coffee. Hey there, Blue Ace. You say Mr. Mishram had the coffee too, but did you actually see him drink the coffee? Of course. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger. I live in a man sees, dog eat dog, and write about it world. And yet, I guess I can't say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if any. That poison is quite virulent, I hear. So I gulped down that coffee without so much a second glance at it. Does this guy have a pause button? Blue Ace, it's going really well, my friend. I find that testimony valuable. He didn't actually see it get drunken. You sure did, Blue Ace, in the middle of a case, indeed. Sure. The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over. Oh yes, you can go to the press with that one. Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the testimony. Very well, the witness will add it. Vital, right. He had one sip of that. The next moment, he was on the floor. Wait, really? That didn't work? I thought there was a time between that. Uh-oh. Okay, I guess I gotta press some more. Super Saiyan Emerald, imagine. Super Saiyan Chaos Emeralds. So either took a sip or he didn't, and then he fell over. Oh yes, indubitably, just like that. So so he fell it over and drank it immediately. Should I get him to talk about something else? About when Mr. Misham passed away. Oh boy, what a scene that was. He puts his coffee mug down with a crash. Then the cold finger of death touches his spine. Actually, life's flame was a bit tired. Life's river froze over. Yes, that's a go. Could you describe that a little more simply? As you can imagine, I was pretty surprised. He hit the floor, as they say. Atropine paralyzes the central nervous system. The body arches back like a bow. The lips tremble. Some of us want to be able to sleep tonight. Well, I want details. Lots of juicy details. The point here is that the victim died of atropine poisoning. You'd think the moment of Mr. Misham's death would be important, but Mr. Brushell's story really didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. I do too, Budokai. So, you drank the coffee that Vera served you too. Of course. When someone serves you coffee, you drink it. So my old boss used to say, never did get what he meant by it though. But you're still alive, which is to say you didn't die. Of course not. No point falling before you're a star. That's not exactly what I was getting at. What were you getting at then? You know the poison was on the rim, not in the coffee. Oh yes, there were 2 cups of coffee on the tray she brought. And one of the cups had Drew's signature painted on the side. No chance the guest would take that one by mistake. Slow acting, there we go. That's the coffee mug itself, not... yeah, should have looked at that. You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atropine. A lethal dosage of .002 paralyzed the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile. Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. An omission. Atropine, or atrokinine, is as virulent as he says. But the death doesn't come immediately upon ingestion. That's because it's a slow-acting poison. According to one forensic scientist, one of the most virulent poisons, but it's absorbed in the body astonishingly slowly. Takes at least 15 minutes. That's alright. What was her name in the detective lady in Cyber Sleuth? She makes like ramen coffee. What's the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why that contradicts the entire testimony we've heard. Slow acting. It was virulent, alright. Even then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist. Objection! It's Brushell, yeah? Herr Brushell. Let's take a trip back down memory lane. Huh? Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital. You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion. End quote. I admit it does cause a problem if he died when he said he died that way. You'd be forced to say farewell to your article. Come again? You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye. Scoop. Look at him scrubbing his freaking eye. His glasses. Look, wait just a second. We're waiting, out with it. I think I recalled a so-called important detail. Revival of recollection. End quote. Attorney utterly confused. End quote. Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I heard a poison that takes its sweet time, see? But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened? The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say. I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. Thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee. Oh, Kirito, I'm sorry you're bored. Thanks, Retro. It's fun to get those witnesses. I really appreciate you taking those clips. The Mr. Misham died the instant after he drank. Of course I'm standing by my testimony. My dream of exclusive rights to the story. Ah, I suppose it was too much to hope for. What was? Of course you wouldn't choose a simple case, not him. Him? Phoenix Wright. Who else? Achtung, Herr Bruschel. Report for us if you would. What is it you noticed? Catch you later, Kai. Kai, I gotta DM you and double check on the PET and things. Now that I think about it, we'll have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Mission was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course, but now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note? A suicide note. Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation, end quote. Suicide. Poor Mr. Misham. But that means Vera's innocent. Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. Even the top of his head looks kind of like a toothbrush. When I arrived at the studio, he was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed it. So he put the letter away when he saw you. Early reporter gets worm, end quote. That's my secret. Not sure I follow. The night of the interview, I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in. Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really? Mr. Misham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. Oh, but it was red. The defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor. Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. It was a yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene. Objection! As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope. What? Prosecutor Gavin. Yes. Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But her forehead. It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess. But not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Bruschel, I can explain that. Drew, right? He wanted to get that letter in an envelope pronto. Get it out of my sight and my beady eyes. So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away. And what about the whole red and yellow contradiction, chump? Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he'd been writing in a red envelope. Two sheets of paper. Me too. His own beady eyes. Crazy coffee maker. Right, that's her name, right? Kyoko Kuremi. Isn't that the girl from Digimon, the Digimon Cyber Sleuth? I like your expression. So full of confidence. It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist. Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone a suicide note to himself. I've been scooped! Yes, this is the true gameplay. Exactly, Shifalo. Exactly. You go through the witness's testimony, you find the contradictions. Exactly. This is indeed the true gameplay. Mr. Bruschel, can you explain this to the court? Oh, my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lost. End quote. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Bruschel. Well, that's the thing. See, after he put his letter in the envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp. End quote. A A stamp, whatever for? Why, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why, yes, I think I saw him put it in the letterbox. It was a yellow envelope, so I put it in that box. Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with the case. Oh, how I wish it did. Just think if it were a suicide note, what a story. Star writes suicide note in front of reporter falls, end quote. Ahem, as I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. Makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. Her copy-making skills leave much to be desired. Yes, indeed. 100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah. He's sniffing it. So am I finished here? I mean, am I finished? I was thinking of, going home to start writing. Look at him sniffing it out. Look at that lead. This guy is such a character. Doesn't she have a Digimon card? Couldn't you collect her as a Digimon card? I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone. But when you catch the scent of a story, you make that, or rather, unique face. Ah, come on! Attorney has active imagination. Little else. End quote. Even I noticed something and my eyes aren't what they used to be. I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about. Judge has active imagination. End quote. Please, continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story. Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here. Usually. Her name is Kyoko Kuremi? Yeah, or Kyoto. Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. The red envelope probably had something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. So you threatened to go to the press with this story. That's how you got your interview, blackmail. Well, yes. I mean, no. It wasn't exactly black. I mean, I'm not... Something wrong, Mr. Brushel. Well, look. This is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood, end quote. While you have me chatting away in here, what's going on out there? What if some Wally Woodsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could be going to the press while I'm going to waste. Yeah, I'm with you, Budokai. It was fun to have it in court. I do like that they didn't just get rid of it completely, but still. Alright, let's see what we can get here. Actually took a bit of work to get a thumbs up. Reporter leverages story. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. The red envelope probably something to do with it. I think this is probably it. Oh, really? There's no, I remember, he's a hard one. I believe it's his armpits get sweaty. Yep, I remember him being extremely difficult. Sweat much, Mr. Brushel? Well, yeah. A man can't help his glands, It's more than that. When Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets. You're hiding something about his talent. What? That's ridiculous! Evidence time. Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. It just so happens I have evidence showing the talent in that letter. I wonder if is it the hidden one I'm supposed to do? Can't help but wonder what the court is supposed to conclude. Other than you made a horrible mistake. Oh, come on. Just gotta show he was a forger, but you're telling me that was... I don't want to show that one? I guess the hidden one is more important. It's so annoying that there's two paintings. This painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is there was another painting in the studio, which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Come on, that should have counted too. They even talk about the other painting. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of 100K, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries. The game animation's unnerving. I love the animation in this game, honestly. I think they're really well done, I think. I know, I'm so with you, Budokai. Too specific at times. That happens a lot in this game. It probably happens in other Ace Attorneys too, but... Can we get this private, please? It's my story, my scoop. Forgery, that's a serious crime. Drew Misham is known as an artist these days. But there are rumors he dabbled in another kind of art. Meaning... Yeah, so true, Pocojo. Honestly, when I first played the Phoenix Wright games on the DS... I didn't even realize they were Game Boy Advance games because I thought they looked really colorful and well animated. And then this game comes out and you're like, okay, that's what the DS is supposed to look like. You can't seriously be talking about. Exactly, I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumor started circulating 7 years ago. So are we to understand that this letter, this payment of 100,000 was for... Exactly, forged evidence, nets tidy profit, end quote. Order! Why, it's like our victim was living a double life. Oh, they really did they updated the sprites and colors from the GBA. That makes sense. So if I were to look at the actual Japanese GBA games, it would look a little worse than the DS ones. You could have plenty of enemies we know nothing about. This is my first time hearing this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we concluded our investigation. But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of illegal activity. There is no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was and remains simple from the very beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned the mug that night. And you, of course. Hey, the only thing I poison is my pen when I'm writing reviews. The GBA games use a different courtroom, is that right? Oh, that'd be really cool to see. The original Gyakuten Saiban. How cool, Shingo. You have the GBA card and everything. Doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen. What are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid. In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap, this trial is over. The cross-examination showed that Mr. Brushel didn't have any means or reason to poison him. As long as there's no other suspects, then the killer had to be Vera, that's what. This next testimony is our chance. Yo, is that right, Pocojo? So Pocojo knows. You have the boxes? Yeah, you just said that. The boxes, I think, are really nice. They're pretty clean and simple. I have the Apollo Justice briefcase, which is really freaking cool. That's a Japanese exclusive. The only thing in the studio that night was a defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug, and nothing left the studio after he died. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. A nice testimony, clear, succinct, and without room for doubt. Do you guys want to see it? Anyone have a show and tell? I think I have the box around, actually. I think I have the box. I don't think it'd be too hard for me to dig up if people want to see it. I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination. I still have one trump card left to play. Okay, here. Let me grab it real quick. We'll listen to the sweet music. Uh-oh. Whoops. Okay, so. Alright, so. I don't know if I want to open it up from the bubble tape. I'm not sure if I want to. Maybe I will, because I do kind of want to make a video on it. But it's very cool. It's a full-on briefcase. No, not in a year. Not in a year. But we are gonna... It's gonna take more than a year, I'm pretty sure. Plus, we're not beating every game. We're just playing them. We're just playing them. Yeah, you know what? Let me decide. I'll decide by tomorrow if I want to open it. But it's pretty freaking cool. But since I'm not gonna open that, I thought I'd show something else as a little bonus. This, I'm pretty sure, is the Great Ace Attorney. Or actually, I think it's the Spirit of Justice. I don't think this is Great Ace Attorney. But it is pretty cool nonetheless. Gotta find a good way to take this out. No, I didn't. In fact, I quote unquote beat Animal Crossing. That was the quote unquote game that I beat on Friday. Hold up. All right, here we go. Let me see if I can take this out better. It's like kind of... Yes, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Exactly, Shingo. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Greatest Attorney at first. The Greatest Attorney does have a box that I think I own somewhere, but yeah, it's quite cool. Very, very cool. And if you pull out the little spots, you can get a little album. This is pretty stuck in here, though. Whoa! All right, I should be more careful. I'll pull this out, too. Look at this. Do you remember this little doggy? I should probably take him out. He'd be a cute plush to have around. He's very cute. I don't remember his name from the game. It's been a minute since I played it. And I don't know what this is. This almost looks like a playmat. Again, I don't know if I want to open it up all the way. I should really... I feel like it's a tote bag. It probably has a Karain. It probably has like a Karain logo on it, or symbol. And I guess we can probably open this up a little bit. Oh, check this out. It's a visual postcard book. Actually, I like this art a lot. That art is really cool. You even get little black quill in the corner and everything. Yeah, very cool. You guys know me, man. I'm a hoarder. I'm less a collector these days and more a hoarder. And maybe tomorrow I'll decide if I'll open up the Apollo Justice briefcase. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe that'd be a fun reward for beating the game. I'm hoping to beat the game tomorrow, so that could be kind of a fun thing to show off. And I do, when I make a YouTube video on this game, I definitely want to show it off, so I think I'll probably do it eventually. But yeah, very, very cool stuff. Clinton, you came in at a fun time with showing off an Ace Attorney box that I think is very cool. Alright. But let's get back to the game. I'm glad Shingo had a great reaction. I'm glad some people really enjoyed it. That makes me really happy to see. Alright. I love these games. I think these games are very underrated. And I really want an official Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney. The only person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who pulled the cut. Well, let's get the music back. No, Taki, just North America, as you can see. Although I might do Japanese. See, I'm on the fence because there are some Japanese games I very much want to play. Like the Elite Beat Agents Japanese version. Like, I think it's called Okuden. And then like Ace Attorney Investigations. There are a few I really do want to play. But I'm going to finish the North American games before I think about those. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She admitted it much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. Tingle! I want to play the Tingle English games too, Cha. I should really try owning those. Those are I should not be buying things. I'm trying to make money, not spend money. But I actually do want to own those games. I would very much like to own those games. You know why, Shingo? It's because the game is way more respected in Japan. They have just a lot more merch in Japan. You know? I feel like the English side of Ace Attorney is like really lacking. I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time. Hey, Sortsei, nice to see you. One of those candies might have been poisoned. Oh, Electroplankton. I forgot about Electroplankton. I've never owned that game either. I think it was like a Nintendo eShop or a Club Nintendo exclusive. I feel like that game's really expensive, actually. It's probably pretty rare. No mint residue was found. That was a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof, the possibility is there, I can feel it, just maybe not prove it yet. And possibility isn't gonna cut it, not now. Mr. Misham ingested poison via a roof other than coffee. I can prove it. Proof is possible. I gotta risk it. Oh, excellent. Let's see your proof then. Please show us your evidence. Well, isn't there a Super Robot Wars with Hawken Browning, the cowboy, and then the well-endowed lady from Project Cross Zone? You guys know what I'm talking about? I'm pretty sure that's a DS game on English. Must I explain this over and over? We don't need possibilities here, forehead. We need proof. That didn't count? Should also know that every proof has its moment. Perhaps you're a bit early. I can tell you what we know at this point. The victim put nothing to his mouth than that coffee mug. Another hole in this case that needs plugging before I can prove it. But first things first. Okay. Oh, interesting. Prosecutor. That was actually an interesting scene there. It's not like I got docked there. I guess I have to press more. Well endowed lady, that could mean anything. Anyone ever watch the Project Cross Zone? Or play Project Cross Zone? Because there's that one character with him and his partner. Objection! And I'm pretty sure that they're on in an actual DS game. Super Robot Tyson, I think, right? I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Not to beat a dead horse, but could you fill us in? I'm on it. You need a horse beat? I'm your man. Bear who poured the coffee. Of course I didn't witness so much. You came in the tray, the coffee was already poured and a steaming. Let us not forget the defendant has admitted to pouring the coffee herself. I heard her statement. I poured, I served, and I killed. What? The last part was just a little joke. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere with this coffee mug. I need to find another weak spot. Yeah, good call, Poke Joe. I think that's a really cool thing. Yes, there you go, Outlaw Vessel, yes. I'm pretty sure Hawken Browning is a DS game. And I'm pretty sure it's like Super Robot Tyson. Even though I don't think there's any robots in this game. Journalist Spark Brushel does interview. Leave studio. End quote. Come on. It's a joke. Get it? Not funny, I know, but still. Did something leave the studio that night? Why does that sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before? Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to the testimony. Do you have any idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night? You're in court, Brushel. A certain something has vanished from the crime scene. That yellow envelope. Don't tell me, Vera Misham. Believe me, any comic relief I provide is entirely unintentional. Budokai, yes, I think for those games, I would buy the peripheral. And I would use my actual DS that can stream. I've been really lazy about doing that. I've been using my very legitimate hardware, but I own this game, okay? I own this game. Oh, I should have done the red letter, shouldn't I? I should have done the red letter. I still want to keep presenting the frame. Are you serious? That didn't count? The red letter? I have evidence that shows how it could have been taken from the scene. Okay, the letterbox. Oh my gosh, it's taken from the scene. I'm so dumb. I'm a dummy. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I got 2 penalties for no reason. Demi the Scoutmaster comes, Demi the Rockstar. Does anyone own that peripheral? I would love to buy it from someone in our community. Otherwise, I'll go on eBay. What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter. Yeah, I said that and it was true. Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. But the same letterbox was empty. I do, okay? I do, Kirito. I should definitely save while I can. Ooh, Budokai, is that right? Well, it sounds like you would probably want to keep it. Oh, whoops. It sounds like you would want to keep it, but if anyone wants to sell their peripheral, I might get the Guitar Hero one. Is Ni no Kuni on the DS? I thought it was a PSP game. We're trying to figure out how the poison got to Mr. Misham. Is it really important that this envelope disappeared? Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. The witness will add this to his testimony. I still think this fails to change anything here, Forehead. I wouldn't be so sure. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for. A letter was put in the post, but I hardly think that matters. Yikes. Alright, I got it wrong. I lost. I'm glad I saved very recently. Let's see this bad ending. That's enough. I see no need to further prolong this trial. The defense's case is insufficient. The court finds the defendant Vera Misham. No jurors. The defendant will surrender herself to the court's care to undergo a regular trial at the High Court within a month's time. Alright, bummer. I suck. I suck. Alright, let's reload. How the poison got to Mr. Mitchell. I keep trying to present the same thing. I know that it's that little picture frame is a stamp, okay? That little picture frame is a stamp. Letter was put in the post office, but I hardly think that matters. Nothing could be more serious than an envelope disappearing from that studio, and you are hiding that fact from us. Yes, well, actually. I don't argue the possibility that a letter disappeared from that studio. But Herr Forehead, isn't there a much more serious question before us? Right, how Mr. Misham was poisoned. But Mr. Brushel's testimony changed, which means the facts of this case have too. And what he's told us means something entirely differently now. I'm starting to think. Let's keep thinking, Apollo. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. You say clearly as though it were obvious, but this claim is merely conjecture. Ah, yes, well, you see, in my business, it's all about making the most ridiculous things sound right. A bad habit, I know. Yes, well, actually, I guess it's more a case of a ridiculous journalist sounds wrong. The court is forced to agree with you. Please refrain from wild conjecture. What do you think, Apollo? Everything he's saying seems not so flawed. Well, that's kind of what you want from a testimony, really. And to keep my eye on what matters. Vera poured the coffee, and that's not going to change. But if the coffee didn't kill him, I need to find out what did. The only thing that touched his lips were the mug. Okay, here we go. Now I can hype this up. Well, Mr. Justice, let's save it. Let's save again. Wild conjecture is very fun. I know, I'm telling y'all the stamp. He licked that stamp. Yes, proof is possible. Here goes nothing. You do understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Herr Forehead, not possibilities. Of course. And Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. What did you say? I have proof of the disappearing envelope. I saw him writing a letter. There we go. So I had to press first instead of objecting. The envelope had a stamp on it. I know exactly, Budokai, that we objected to be penalized. I know. You have to press on it. In order to use the glue, you'd have to wet it by licking it. No one talking actually licks stamps in this day and age. Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all. Okay, so he licked the stamp, but wait. How does that explain the atropine on the rim of the coffee mug? If he licked the back of a poison stamp, the poison would get on his tongue. What then would happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth, Those traces in the mug weren't the killer's doing, it was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself. Order! Well, that does it? Recall, if you would. Atropine is a slow-acting poison. The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on the envelope, but his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. Look at that sniff. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel. Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent. As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing. See, after he put the letter in the envelope, he sat there searching his desk drawer for something. A stamp, a so-called postage stamp. But you know, we don't seem to remember him ever finding one. Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps. Not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used possible. Ah ha ha! Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. Here we go. There we go. Finally, that tiny little picture frame. Well, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection, so what? Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atropine residue. What? Why wasn't I told about this? The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe even an inch wide at most. You aren't saying. Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps? Hey, Sybil! Nice to have you in here again. It was fun raiding you a few days ago. Order! The poison stamp was in this frame. Impossible. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would he put something like that on his desk? Tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see. What, Mr. Brushel? Please stop jittering around like that. The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too, end quote. So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. Oh, I love this series, Sybil. In fact, Sybil, I was showing off some of my Collector's Ace Attorney merch a little earlier today, which is great. Oh, that's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Governor's song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. Delivery, death. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree. Come again? Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail? I've thought about reading or getting into Detective Conan, Budokai. How are they? I know you're a fan, so you clearly enjoy them. A stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous! Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that the poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. I might not have evidence per se, but things are finally starting to come together. Your fists are trembling. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Misham was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. Uh-oh. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill Mr. Misham sent the stamp of death. Sign the papers with the enclosed stamp. There it is, folks. Isn't this the envelope? The one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison, on the stamp, lick, lick, gasp, end quote. Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in the letterbox. 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing it. But the clock started ticking. When the time came, he drew his last breath, and the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Unfortunately, that letter, quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Unfortunately, 7 years. That letter was from 7 years ago. Someone poisoned all the coffee and put antidote in the cake? Wait, that's so funny. Oh, that's funny, Budokai. Yes! Oh, Professor Layton. I'm sorry, I thought you meant a Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright crossover, which I know about on the 3DS, but yeah, that would be a great crossover with Ace Attorney. So this poison stamp was inside the envelope from 7 years ago. Is that what you have us believe, really? Well, it's a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility. Yeah, it's a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp in this envelope, a stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well, 7 years ago, we don't even know who even sent it. And your answer is silence. I see very well. It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein, Clavier. Emma! Wow, that actually freaked me out. Well, like my Christoph Gavin impression, did I sound like him? Don't quit your day job. Retro, you nailed it. That actually freaked me out. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein Detective? Someone had to come dig you out all this mess you're making of the case. Hey, Cito! You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out if that stamp was in the envelope easy. Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective? Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? That's right. The poison detection spray. Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of the court. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. There it is. Well, would you look at that? No mistaking it. That's atropine residue. I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last. Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago? Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out. Figured what out? He realized the person who sent the letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp. And put his decisive evidence in a frame. Ah, you're still here. Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark a Razor-Tooth Brushel, claim this scoop as mine. Drew Misham killed in cold blood by sender of 7-year-old letter, end quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay, end quote. He's great, Sybil. Order! I see no room for further argument here, though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp his ticket straight to afterlife, end quote. Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge. I see no reason for further debate on the matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant. Apollo, I think we just won. Very well. This court finds the defendants. Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor Gavin. A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago. Tickets for the Gaviner shows are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Herr Forehead's claim. A contradiction? A poison stamp was placed in the envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? How explain that? He must have realized it was poisoned. Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham sensed a trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why 7 years later did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot? He put the murder weapon on a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself? While I admit this is all quite shocking myself, it does seem highly unlikely that he would run and fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years. Apollo, I don't think we're winning anymore. I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you. Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope? The poison stamp? Where exactly is this poison stamp again? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed. Okay, that's not fair. We have poison residue. What about the atropine residue, huh? Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atropine residue. But Herr Forehead, it's certainly no stamp. Even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drew Misham would never have used it. That is all. Okay, that's unfair, because having the residue is huge evidence. I believe we've come to a conclusion again. Apollo, were we wrong the whole time? I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be a coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year, Mr. Justice. Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atropine on the document inside the envelope. Hey, I'm funny! How was coding? A similar trace was also found at the crime scene on this particular tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope. An envelope that left the scene of the crime with a poison stamp on it. Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp. I get it. He put it in a stamp. He put it in the frame for a different reason. He put it in the stamp because it was a really cute stamp. Which means there's a fatal flaw in the defense's case. I haven't been on the wrong track, I'm sure of it. The traces of atropine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us? The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. Ah, fake clue. Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah? The fake clue that's thrown us off this trail. Drew Misham. The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'll explain. We have the envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. This all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself. Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fakes himself, the forger. It makes a good story, I'll give you that. The fake clue. Fakes. Forgeries. Ah! I know that face. That's the... I just had idea face. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. What if our forger is the fake? Come again? 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into that very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake. One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into it. That's two forgers and one of them was a fake. Ah, yeah, we got the music. Order, order. So you're telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake. Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You better not be claiming there was some sort of switcheroo. I'm afraid you're gonna have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was. If Drew wasn't the real one, there's only one other person it could be. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Misham himself was a forgery. The real forger was his daughter, Vera Misham. There can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Misham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham. Order! Order! Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you. I kind of agree. I mean, Vera, a forger? Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in it wasn't the forger. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew's and Vera's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well, fascinating. Look at her, she's so cute. Vera Misham. You've been paying attention to the trial so far. Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger, Drew Misham? Oh. Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. She's definitely on the spectrum, huh? This is like, there's a term for this. I'm used to being stared at by Frauleins, believe me. Though they usually talk to me, too. Tell us, were you the ones who forged those works of art? Yes. So the forger, Drew Misham, was you! Yes, it was me. What? The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. We had a break for a 10-minute recess. Whew. This game is so good. It's a real spicy meatball, folks. Okay, so where exactly does this leave us, Apollo? Well, the Drew Misham who was killed wasn't Drew Misham the forger. Well, then who was he? Well, he was actually doing her nails. So you really made those forgeries. Yes, for father. I know, it was wrong. Could you tell us how it happened? My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, father saw it in me. He saw that I had the talent. The talent for making forgeries? How should I say it? It was not only paintings that I made. Given the materials, I could make anything. Oh, Vera, because Vera means the truth, like verity? I just thought, I didn't think of that. That's really clever, Clinton. But in the end, I was making those. Forgeries. I've never had a good constitution nor personality. I know very little of the world outside my door. Now, because of me, Father is... Do you know about this red envelope? I remember that envelope. It was some time ago. So you're already creating your works back then? I started when I was only 12 years old. So the one who figured out the stamp was poisoned. Mr. Justice, it's time. To the courtroom, please. Out of time. Wait, Vera, just one more thing, please. those 3 paintings in the studio. I painted those as part of my work. Right, see, we checked them out and we saw what was underneath. We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings. Mr. Justice, Father, he knew of you, of both of you. Your late father, he was watching, gathering information, all about the Wright & Co. law offices. But lately, we're not just law. Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse, and play piano. Well, they're not really gags. Yet when Father heard you had resumed the legal business, how pleased he was. Who was Mr. Misham? How am I supposed to know? What if he was Daddy's daddy? Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say highly unlikely. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. We know with the victim's daughter, Vera, and we know that she was the forger. What does that mean for the case? Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked out. How did you figure out this Drew Misham persona? There's that stare again. She's drilling more holes into his head. I know it's hard for you. Hey, Kirito! Oh. Can we take a second to salute Kirito, you guys? That's really sweet. Thank you so much, Kirito. We got a little Budokai fan up in here too. That's so freaking nice. What's hard? Well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries? Perhaps you'd rather answer my question. Were you the one who painted that painting, the remarkably similar one? Yes. I painted it, yes. Father praised me quite highly for it. So, she was the one who made the forgeries. Yet she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand-in, a decoy. To the world at large, he was the forger, not her. I've done a bad thing. I have, haven't I? Regardless, we need a little more information. About, for instance, this. You have seen this before, yeah? Yes. It was in the desk drawer. Very well, you may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope. Kirito, I can't wait for you to come home. I know you're having a boring day. I created things and Father sold them. This envelope came after my first work. That was other than a painting. Father handled the deal, all of it. I received the stamp that was in that envelope. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio. There certainly was much great interest in your testimony. Not that the witness realizes it. I need more information about this forger, this Drew Misham. She is so cute, isn't she, Sybil? She's very cute, and so skilled. I created things, and Father sold them. This envelope came after my... Actually, we should press everything, shouldn't we? So these things you were making, you mean paintings identical to other paintings, right? The closer they were, the happier Father was. I was happy too. Still, you're quite young now. When did you begin this work? My first painting sold when I was 12. Your Honor, she had no idea what she was doing. No idea it was illegal. Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery. Drop off food to your friends at their hotel? How nice of you. You're a good friend, Kirito. What food are they ordering? By other than a painting, you mean... You done paintings up until that point? Yes. But Father had a realization. He noticed my talent extended to making things other than paintings. For instance, For instance, a letter someone had written, or a fingerprint left upon a cup, or a signature on a document, a seal upon a letter. None of this makes her sound very innocent at all. And the 100,000 promise in this letter was the start, the beginning of a new industry for Drew Mission. The creation of items to be used in criminal proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words. Father handled the deal. McDonald's, I love it. Get him a nice Big Mac and a McFlurry. I enjoy painting very much. I think I understand. The Fraulein has lived in an unusual little world. Can you tell us what happened to the papers that were in this envelope? Father signed them and sent them back, I believe. Did he follow the instructions? Send in the enclosed envelope? This is a rather important matter. Give your answer some thought. I received the stamp that was in the envelope. That's why I gotta get them chicken nuggies. And you gotta get that sweet and sour sauce. Or barbecue. Did I do something wrong? You didn't use that stamp because it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison on the back? A moment here, forehead. You can't force an answer upon the witness. Perhaps you would tell me, Fraulein Vera, why did you receive the stamp? Is something wrong? It was beautiful. Ah, you mean it was one of those commemorative stamps? Yes, I think it was. So, you didn't know about the poison? I guess not. So the trap failed by chance, by mistake, thanks to this commemorative stamp. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio. You mean you moved to where the current Drew studio is? Yes, we saw very few people there. I began drawing picture books. The single job had tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Misham wanted to reduce their visibility. When we had to meet someone for some reason, Father posed as the creator of the work. That was the essence of Drew Misham. You did the work and he supplied the face. So, you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in. About this commemorative stamp, could you tell us more about it? It was very pretty. And more than that, it was a picture of people I liked at the time. This is something new. Apparently, we got some cross-examination yet ahead of us. Nuggies and a Big Mac. That's a good meal right there, honestly. No complaints from me. The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians. The Grammar Eyes. Magicians. I love mysterious things. I always have. Even though she fainted when she saw Mr. Hat. You're confusing mysterious with freaky. Father took me while I was very young. It was a great magic show. I loved it so much. Isn't magic great? But the magic troupe we saw disbanded soon after. I was quite sad. Did she just say what I think she said? Magic troupe? The red envelope came after she completed her first job. That makes it a letter from her client. We're close. We just have to piece together the parts. A deadly weapon and a red envelope and the path it took to end Drew Misham's life. I received the stamp in that envelope. This just says about her forehead. Let's just say that. Oh, we fully healed our HP. Look at that. Nice. Do not open until the time is right. premiere showing. Yeah, it definitely feels good to heal that HP. Am I just gonna present the grammarize? Even though it's not actually, even though this isn't really a contradiction? Those magicians you liked. Was it this bunch? Apollo, they're not a bunch. I see. Still, I have to wonder. Why include a commemorative stamp like that in a business letter? Good question. Well, pretty stamps are always better and you can't be Droop Grammari. But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin? Prosecutor Gavin. Grammari. What's with Gavin? Might I ask just one question of this witness? In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work that was other than a painting. Please tell me, what exactly did you make? Can I ask what? No! Answer the question! Now! Eek! Prosecutor Gavin, you're usually not the one whose volume concerns me. Yes, it is unbecoming of me, I apologize. But I must know, please, Miss Misham, tell me. It was a book. A single page in a book. A book. Please be more specific. It was a handwritten book. Like a diary. I don't know! What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks like he saw a ghost. Ms. Misham, this book. Was there a picture of a silk hat on the back cover, yes or no? How did you know? Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all your questions. Stop badgering her. He's told you nothing, has he? Your soiled, sullied ments are nothing. Sullied who? Phoenix Wright. Who else? Daddy. He never told you about the trial 7 years ago? About how he came to lose his attorney's badge? It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. A certain diary. On the back it bore the mark of a silk hat. What? Phoenix Wright, tossed out of the profession by false evidence. And the forger who made it. Is this girl standing right in front of me? Vera, you must tell us. The evidence you made that was used in a trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham, you, to forge that evidence? For all of our sakes, who was it? We only met once. You met the client? Well, who was it? Hold up. Whoops. It was. What's going on with Vera? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again. Yes, what? Is there something about me? I remember clearly. I remember who gave me the book, the diary. Who was it? Ugh! Vera! The devil. Defendant Vera Misham, condition unconscious. Examiner's diagnosis, acute atropine poisoning. This ends the recording of the trial for the murder of Drew Misham. Vera Misham was, during the trial, poisoned by an unknown assailant. The dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She is currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case at a first glance, until it finally begins to show its true colors. I love this part! Oh, this music. This music makes me emotional. The long road to the truth takes us to the record of another trial. In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. And that is where we must go. Little Trucy! To find the whole truth. I like it, Blue Ace. I like it, Blue Ace. Yo! Lich King came at a good time. Lich King, you came at a very good time, my friend. Hope you're doing really well. Happy Saturday. I don't know if you've ever played the Ace Attorney games. Showdown time. I lost. It's only a game of poker. A game I played for a long time and only lost twice. Who was the first? The man I killed, of course. Well, it seems I found the partner I've been looking for all along. Over a game of cards? Why, yes, over a game of cards. That was how we first met. Look at that, we're from Phoenix, 7 years ago. 7 years ago, Phoenix Wright's final trial. Oh, look how nostalgic this is. I love the old style. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 2. The music! Okay, it's been a long time since I felt like such a rookie. Gotta try and relax. Good morning, Mr. Enigmar. I'm sorry to have sprung this on you so suddenly. I received the files from your previous attorney only yesterday. Honestly, I'm not even entirely sure I'm prepared. I understand I'm asking the impossible of you. Yes, well, you haven't really told me what happened yet. All we did was play cards. And that was enough. Actually, it wasn't, trust me. Ooh, morning, Daddy. I'm so glad you came. You okay, Daddy? They picking on you? I am fine as always. This old boy is here to help me after all. That's a young man to you. Good morning. That's a cute outfit you got on. Thanks. My first show's today after all. Oh, I'm sure it is. What the heck is she talking about? Oh, old boy. Me? Look what he started. Here. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. What's this? A memo for you or some such? Not from the looks of it. What is this? Looks like a page from someone's diary. I'll give it a read later. Well, how do you feel about the trial today? We'll get through it somehow. Incidentally, the prosecutor today is a new guy here. An easy win then, yes? They're calling him a true thoroughbred in the history of the prosecutor's office. Of course, there's one of those every year. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? The switching of attorneys just before the trial. I know it is a difficult situation I put you in. But, allow me to say one thing, Mr. Wright. Yes? They will not be able to pronounce me guilty today. So do your best, but do not worry. First time a defendant's ever given me a pep speech. I'll do what I can. Ha 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 ha! I see, you do not understand. You see, it will be impossible for them to declare a verdict. Impossible? Yes. Isn't that right, Trucy? Yep, you bet, Daddy. My first look at the case was only yesterday, and the information I was giving was a tad bit lacking, to be honest. Still, I'll do what I can, for their sake. I believe the curtains will be lifting any time now. I am in your capable hands, Mr. Wright. My client is Shady Enigmar, known to the world as Zach Grammari. A wildly popular magician, the star of Troupe Grammari. His mentor, Magnifi Grammari, was a rare breed of magician. He single-handedly ushered in a golden age of stage magic until he was shot dead. And Zach Grammari is the suspect. Wow, even the old art, look at that. Oh. Ah, this song. Court is now in session for the trial of Shady Enigmar. Yep. Exactly. Shingo, I love that Phoenix makes a joke of that. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Is the prosecution ready? I was just thinking, is this what all the fuss is about? Bit of a buzzkill, really. Buzzkill? Is this some kind of new crime? One of the worst. This is a trial, yeah? Where are the sweaty palms, the pounding hearts? A Governor's concert's got 10 times the thrill this gig's got. Where are you again? Clavier Gavin. I came to get the party started. Legally, yeah. Gavin? Defense attorney Christoph Gavins? Figures my bro's more famous in this part of town. Clavier Gavin. Lead singer for the mega hit band The Gaviners. You're out of your league, rock boy. I love that. I love confident Phoenix. Confident, bold Phoenix. I know what you're thinking. You're out of your league, rock boy. True. My debut single, 13 Years, Hard Time for Love, went platinum overnight. But that's just a hobby compared to this, yeah? Talkative, aren't you? I like your affected Euro rock accent, by the way. Oh, I gotta give him a Euro rock accent. Oh my gosh, I should have been giving him a Euro rock accent this entire time. I'm just getting. Okay, I can't do a Euro accent. I'm not gonna bother. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to fill us in the case. Achtung, baby. Time to call in the opening act. What was his name again? Ah, yes. Detective Gumshoe! Hit it! Detective Gumshoe. My man. And you are? Hey, you were the one who called me up here, sir. Name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a homicide detective down at the precinct. Actually, I gotta give him a better voice than this. Detective Gumshoe, long time no see. Hey, you! Me? Today's the day, pal. Today I win and you lose. I got confidence in my testimony today, see? What, you normally lack confidence in your testimony? Hair judge, this is my stage. Can the actics. Or hair detective, huh? All this hey-youing and such. And I could care less about your history together. Ugh. Very well. Detective Gumshoe, if you would. Please tell us about the case at hand. Oh my gosh, this music is so good. It happened 6 days back at a room at the General Hospital. The facts were as simple as they come. Here's the crime scene. The victim was a patient asleep in a hospital bed. The killer comes in, puts a pistol to his forehead, and bam, lights out. Them's the facts. Not so long ago, the victim Magnifi Grammari was a famous man. He had the entire country under his magical spell, as it were. Ah, yes, the great magician. He retired years ago, though. Say the name Magnifi to one of my generation, and he'd be lucky to get a blank stare. Yes, though I'm sure the youngsters today know his disciples even better. I dare say Troupe Grammari has made quite a name for themselves. Anyhow, the retired Magnifi's been in the hospital for the last year. What was it? Malignorant tutor or something. Doing something to his, liver, I think. Yeah. A malignant tumor, perhaps. In other words, he had liver cancer. He only had 3 months to live, in fact. The facts do seem simple enough, but something's not right. The victim was already climbing a 3-month stairway to heaven. Why not wait for him to knock, knock, knock on heaven's door? Why shoot him? I wouldn't have put it quite so lyrically, but it's true. Why make the effort to commit murder when the victim was about to die? Incidentally, the victim had a serious case of diabetes. Diabetes. In fact, he was about to shoot up with insulin when he was shot with a pistol. The syringe was found at the crime scene. Chronic diabetes and cancer. As much as it pains me to say it, the victim was clearly at the end of his life. I believe the question is before us is clear then. Why did the killer have to shoot this dying man? What reason could he have had? Very well, detective. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to the circumstances of the shooting. Yes, sir. Oh, I know, Lich King, believe me. I'm not going to beat every game, by the way. I'm not beating every game. I'm just playing them. For at least 15 minutes. Yes, this music. Actually, the victim kind of ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir. What? You're saying the victim ordered his own shooting? Those are the facts. I have here the letter in question. Oh, yes. We should read it. Very unusual indeed. To my beloved student Zach, to you I entrust the task of lowering my life's curtain. Come on the 13th, 11:05 p.m. I will ready a gun with which you will shoot. One shot square in the forehead. You cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Although, could such a thing as a letter really cause one to pull a trigger, I wonder? I believe the answer to that question can be found at the end of the letter. Ah, you cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Detective Gumshoe, can you explain this to the court? Unfortunately, even the defendant won't say a peep about that bit, yes, sir. One thing bothers me about this. Why didn't he just say 11? Why have him come at 11:05 without some specific reason? The devil is in the details, her attorney. Well, was there some reason? As it turns out, there was. Every night, for a half hour, starting at 11, the victim, Magnifi Grammari, was given an IV. An IV. There it is in the pistol off to the side of the bed. At 11, a doctor would come to set up the IV. 30 minutes later, he would come back for an empty bag. This happened every night without fail. So that was the only time they could meet without the chance of an untimely interruption during his IV. Very well, shall we begin? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you would. What's this reason he couldn't refuse, I wonder? He could have at least mentioned it to me. You know, it's interesting. Phoenix has no assistant in this, and I think that's part of the reason he seems even more confident. There's no one backing into him. The victim kind of ordered him to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. That old voice effect. How can he be so sure? Hey, you gotta learn to stop relying on people to do your thinking for you, pal. Learn to think for yourself. Get that noggin cranking. First, we got this letter. It says shoot in the forehead, loud and clear. I can see that, but I still wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you need to grow yourself a backbone, pal. You fail to grasp the concept of shooting people as bad, detective. We also found the defendant's pistol at the scene. Traces of gunpowder residue shows that it had been fired recently. Well, Mr. Wright? As far as I can tell from looking at the photo, there seems to be no issue with the prosecution's claim. This photo. Maybe there's something in there I can use. So they're saying the defendant shot the victim in the forehead? I think there's a hole in the prosecution's arguments. Looking at this photo, another possibility occurs to me. What does the letter tell us? That the defendant had a reason he couldn't refuse his teacher's wishes. Bingo. Okay, you're right. I'll give him a gruff voice. That's why the defendant popped him in the forehead. Well, I don't know about that. He needs to have like a New York accent, doesn't he? Like a... Let's see if I can do a New York. I'm walking here. I'm Detective Gumshoe here. There was another choice he could have made. What? And you can prove it with this photo? I can prove you had a choice, yes. You know, it's funny though, Lich King, the flintlock I think makes sense because it's the old man's gun. The defendant might have fired like he was ordered, but he didn't shoot the victim's forehead. Well, let's hear what you're thinking, Mr. Wright. He shot the clown. Take that! The clown doll. Take a closer look, see? He's been shot in the forehead. Ah, there's a hole in its forehead. Yes, and a hole in the prosecution's claim. Ha! And I suppose you have a reason as to why he'd shoot the clown doll. He didn't just shoot the doll, he shot the doll's forehead. His forehead. Ah! Let's read the orders once more, shall we? Yeah, I love it, Kirito. You dropped off your the dinner to your friends too. You will shoot one shot square in the forehead, which is exactly what he did. He shot the clown doll square in the forehead. The defense has raised an intriguing possibility. That hole in the clown's forehead. It definitely looks like it was shot. Bailiff, send someone to investigate the matter. I admit I'm impressed. I expected nothing less. Still, this doesn't mean he didn't shoot the victim. Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead as ordered. But the letter says nothing about whose forehead. That was the only way he had to follow the orders without taking a life. The bullet hole in the clown doll's forehead does demand an explanation. It might very well be a clue, yet Prosecutor Gavin is right. It alone does not prove the defendant's innocence. You cannot say for sure the defendant didn't shoot the victim. So sorry, Mr. Wright. How sad it is to see the mighty fall. How sad it is to see the novice's overconfidence. He doesn't realize just how big this little hole is going to get. Detective Gumshoe, please take this newfound fact into account. So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal. Let's see. Do I have any evidence? Single gunshot to the head. Mysterious paper. Magnify's charts. Small syringe. He still shot the victim. Probably the autopsy? Is the autopsy the reason why it's an issue? That it's 11 to 11:30, that it's not clear when he got shot? Let me get this straight. You're saying my client first shot the clown, then shot the victim. Hey, not a bad summary, pal. More of a confirmation than a summary, but whatever. That was really more of a confirmation than a summary, but our defense seems pleased enough with himself. Do these people ever miss a chance to mock me? Well, now that Mr. Wright's got that out of his system, shall we continue with the testimony? I didn't have time to gather all the details before coming in here. This testimony might be my only source of information. Better pay attention and read this letter carefully. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man. Let's see if we can find more about the pistol. You mean this pistol, the one in the crime scene photo? That's the one! It's a funny looking gun, so there's no mistaking it. We compare the bullet taken from the victim's skull with the bullet fired. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. So, you verified the murder weapon, in other words. Can someone who's a gun expert, maybe Lich King, are rifling marks a real thing? They're like fingerprints on a bullet? You bet we did. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man. Why are you so certain? What pile of sand has your head been stuck in all this time, pal? You never heard of Zack and Valance quick draw shoot 'em? Oh, what's that? One of the defendant's specialties. Zack and Valance stand on either side of a girl. Bam, then they shoot. But the bullets don't hit her. Instead, they hit everything else on stage. This was one of the pistols they used on their show. Got a great design, huh? The kids love it. Many boys and girls join the police because of that pistol, I hear. You know, that would explain a lot about the police force. Troop Grammar stopped doing that act a while ago. The old man held on to that pistol ever since. The court would like to see the pistol in question. You got it, sir. Here she is. Well, this is truly a blast from the past. It's a stage pistol for magic shows, see? But it can fire real bullets. Rifling is semi-unique and only comes up the bullet is still in half-decent shape. Got it. Semi-unique and only if the bullet's half-decent shape. That makes a lot of sense. Looks so much bigger in real life than on TV. It can only hold 1 round. By the way, the firing chamber is empty. So were any fingerprints found on it? Unfortunately, no. But of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. You might say a lack of fingerprints is in fact a fingerprint of its own. Aha! Intriguing point, well made. Whoa, 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 not well made, not intriguing. In any case, the court accepts this as evidence. Yep, that's a good point, Shingo. Only one in there. Objection! The trickiest cases often seem the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed the bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand? Yeah, but like I just said, pal. After he shot the clown in the forehead, he went and did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he couldn't. The murder weapon, how? It's quite simple, Your Honor. This pistol only holds 1 bullet at a time. If he had shot the clown in the forehead, he couldn't have shot the victim too. This music. That's not a contradiction, not even close. All they had to do was reload the pistol after the first shot. Oh, where'd you get the extra bullet? They're not so easy to come by, you know. If you claim the defendant had one ready, then prove to us how we got it. Ugh. I had a feeling this wasn't over yet. No, this party's just getting started. And I haven't proven anything yet beyond my good looks and startling record sales. An utter lack of humility. Ah, but what's this? It seems the prosecution has another witness prepared. Like I said, Herr Detective, this was just the warm-up act. Ugh. Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what's to come, they're ready. Ready for my decisive witness, of course. A witness who, you will find, can prove one thing for us. That it was Zach Ramurai who shot the victim in the forehead. Lots of time for someone to come running. Interesting. We will pause for a 15-minute recess. This might be my lucky break. I'll need that 15 minutes to talk to my client. Here we go. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. I have to say I expected nothing less. We've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I do not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discover the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You'll scare Trucy. Speaking of which, where is she? You have seen the problem yourself, the letter. The one shot in the forehead. One, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? That is something I will not say for now, at least. What's this for now business? I have done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. But this is a cross we must bear alone to our graves. We. You wanted to know about the night of the incident. Finally, this guy sure likes to take his time getting the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time. And found there, upon his bedside, 2 pistols. 2! Yes, the one I had used on stage, and the one that had been used by my partner, Valant. Oh, for the Zack and Valant's quick draw thingy? My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then for a moment. You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? Recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So there were other requests you couldn't refuse before. To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy. Was Magnifique coercing his disciples? Just what was going on in Troop Gamurai? Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you will find it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those called? Rifling marks. Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you concerning this case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? Ha! Ha 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 ha! You were a fascinating man, Mr. Wright. Thanks? Yes, there was something. My mentor. His eyes opened. What? Magnifi Grammari. The old devil. He was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. What did you talk about? Ha ha, Mr. Wright! Did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. Zach Grammari. He seems pretty steadfast to me, or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I am in your hands. Right, let's get back in there. Powder patch ball. That's funny, they actually call it a nipple. Court is now back in session. During our recess, a bullet was found in and dug out of the clown's head. The rifling marks? There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis, though they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? Which is why I'm about to call my decisive witness. Your decisive witness. How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. I love it. I love veteran Phoenix. Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident the witness will do his job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players of our little production, being the other half of Troop Grammari's famous duo. So we get to meet the great Magnifi's other disciple. Perhaps we'll start by asking your name and occupation. Valent Grammari, magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student to your partner's guilt. Fate, the great illusion filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in that hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there late? If one were to deduce this conclusion logically, the answer is yes. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Wait, that's the same letter Zach Grammari received. Yes, or perhaps I should say ta-da. Order, order. And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself. Okay, 11:20. Why, it's practically the same. This court accepts this in evidence. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your Troop Grammari up to? By which you mean? I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. Both of them, no less. It's just my opinion here, Judge. But from those letters, I say he was coercing them, not asking them. We walked the magician's path together, and doing so shared much of our lives. When people are so close, there is strain, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not going to tell us. Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse. Well, let's get on with the testimony. The defendant, Zach Grammari, stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, I'll do more than that. Fascinating. Though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. Ha 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 ha. As every magician knows, timing is everything. Yes. And now it's time to get this party fired up. That night, I visited the hospital room as Magnifi requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is the deal. Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown. Then I informed the police and the doctor. So you were the one who reported the crime. Indeed, I would think. This fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before conclusions in this court, but if your testimony proves to be true, then the defendant, Zach Grammari, is guilty. And if it wasn't Zach, then the killer was you, Valent. And no disappearing act will get you out of that. I know. It's actually crazy how much younger he looks without a goatee. That night, I paid the hospital room at the time he requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. He had to deal with a doubt. Let's see, did he actually give it to the clown? There were 2 bullet holes at the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you. No doubt my partner Zach said the exact same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. Better dig around here a bit more. That's weird, because he would shoot the clown after discovering his death. Ask about the bullet, the location, or the number of pistols. How many pistols were there when you went to the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in a Zack and Valent quick-draw shoot-'em, one for each of you. You were well informed, yet only one of my old pals sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zack tell me back in the lobby? Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night. I found it thereupon 2 of them. I placed the pistol I took in my pocket. I see no problem with that statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene after all. So you picked up that pistol and fired it? Indeed I did. Alakazam. Alakazang. Alakazoom. Is the number of pistols really so important? Hey, Goofgunk! Nice to meet you. Welcome on in here. Always good to have folks on here from YouTube. The grind is real for sure. I love the DS. The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? Only 1 pistol was in the hospital room that night. So you took the only pistol there and fired it. That's correct. And that pistol was this one, which was left at the crime scene. Good show! I see you 2 are a magician of sorts. And you're an idiot of sorts. Do you have any idea what you just said? I see the fire in your eyes as you glare at the witness. So how about heating up this trial a bit? These slow ballads bore me. I got a hunch, but maybe that's all it is. Maybe I should ask about something else. On second thought, let's run with this testimony for a bit longer. Fires 1 real bullet. I don't know if I should be presenting the pistol that has only 1 bullet or the crime scene that has 2 in it. Alright, here we go. According to the defendant Zach Grammeri, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on that table. 2! One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead. Then he placed it in his pocket. Of course, that is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume a defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about what Mr. Valent told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? Shiflo, that's a funny thing to block. I told you I took the pistol and I shot the clown. That's your story, at least. But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Valent. Recall what Prosecutor Gavin told us. We compared the bullet. The rifling marks were a perfect match. Mr. Valent, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead. Order! Well, this is all rather sudden. What have I done? Prosecutor Gavin, I owe this court an apology. Sorry. Sorry for what? You see, I was unaware that 2 of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifling marks only proved the type of gun that fired them. But that's not what you told us before! You said you'd verified the murder weapon! Which is why I'm apologizing to you right now, quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth? That was just this morning! I'm still young, and I might add, it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took 1 pistol from the scene, we would not be having this pleasant discussion. Valent Grammeri? You were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive. Objection! You'll see in time. The testimony so far has been merely a review of the facts. The proof comes next. Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin? When Mr. Valent entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. You're right, the real fight is about to begin. Bring it. Gosh, Phoenix is so cool. The music, yeah. I arrived at the hospital at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10. And the one in the room at that time was my partner, not me. Oh, that's not true. 11:10 was not the time of death. At that distant, blood splatter would absolutely be on the murder weapons. Even if it cleaned, it would be visible in a UV light. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi. It's easy to explain the situation here, Judge. For example, take our debut single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and we'll play for 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Their debut single was only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. What a ripoff. Magic is a world of utmost precision. Hocus pocus requires admirable focus. And at the time of death determined by the doctor, there is an incontrovertible truth. Incontrovertible, rather. Precision. I would hope the defense refrains from its customarily broad, sweeping accusations, lest we blur the focus of this case that it so clearly demands. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright. Carry on, Wright. Okay, I've already got it. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10. Wait, what? That didn't work? I'm sorry, but I see nothing faulty. Unfortunately, I'll have to penalize you, Mr. Wright. Hold on a second. Okay, let's press it again, then. I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb here to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We do usually get an estimated time of death, true. I'm not sure I've heard of a verified time of death. Magic revels in making the complex appear simple, but the reality is the opposite. What appears complex is a simple matter of subtraction. The point here is that the IV the victim was taking is quite visible in the photograph. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim, Magnifique Grammarized schedule. Every night at 11, he took an IV drip for 30 minutes. Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end. Ah! The needle's been removed. Doubtlessly, it fell out when he was shot. That would seem to be the case. When the needle came out, the IV no longer drips. Ah, you could measure the remaining IV liquid. The IV liquid functions, for our purposes, as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. The amount remaining in the bag was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. Okay, I guess I should have pressed earlier. And so it was when I, Valent, entered that room. 10 minutes had passed since that horrible crime was committed. Hold up, let's take a look at that evidence. "30 minutes required to administer a full IV. The amount remaining, 10 minutes stopped." Well, Mr. Wright? Did that seem important? Very. Well, seeing how the biggest clue we have to the time of death, I'd say it's very important. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. The water of life springs not eternal. The remaining IV liquid proves my innocence. Did you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When I first entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead, and then finally his left arm did I spy a rose drooping and wilted, its thorn, the discarded IV needle. Knocked from the vein by brute force of the shot, lucky for you. If that IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect. Indubitably so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed, even today I wear it proudly upon my suspect self, for it always without fail brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valent won their first Magician's Grand Prix, yes, the very one held by the Association of International Musicians, I was adorned in this attire then too, in our trophy a bust. Oh, what a day it was. This is one trip down memory lane no one needs. My lucky color, yes indeed, in that IV too, I dare say. 'Twas huge, specially for me, Valent. Wow. Look at him tripping on himself. Valent sure looks happy with himself. How about this lucky color testimony? It certainly sounds like your lucky color brought you plenty of luck, but not this time, Mr. Valent. Your lucky color's betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Your Honor, the witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence. Please recall my warning. Baseless accusations will be duly penalized. I do hope the latest accusation is well based. Don't worry, I got all your bases right here. Where was your evidence that contradicts what he told us?
Take that!
The crime scene tells all, Your Honor. The photo of the crime scene. All this talk of color has me yearning for black and white, clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, Herr Wright, just where is the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure, and I assure you it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white. Wait, is that right? Shingo, I didn't know that. That's a fun Easter egg right there, that he won that same contest. How about this green IV? Valent Grammar, let's get one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Kinda takes the mystery out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright? Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene. What's this? Confusion, doubt. Tell us, what do your elderly eyes spy? Even my elderly eyes can spy a problem here, Mr. Valent. Look at that IV bag. What is this? What foul magic? It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow. And I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking of this photograph. Alika's... Alika, no! I love that he just carries bunnies on him. Order! What does it mean? This is some kind of mistake. Yes, Prosecutor Gavin, your witness's mistake. The greener they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Valent Grammar, as you reminded us several times. Your lucky color is yellow, but the IV is clearly not. Well, this contradiction can only mean one thing. And to think, you almost had me. I see your true colors now, Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin. As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence. Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright. How do you mean? How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree at a glance, the IV liquid does appear a sort of greenish yellow. But I assure you, the liquid itself is quite yellow. Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell, it's green. Yes, but what color is the IV bag itself? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook? It looks like, I want to say a light blue? Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put a yellow liquid in a blue bag and you get green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color. I see, your explanation does have the ring of truth to it.
Objection!
But how would he have known that? As I thought. There's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good you may tell a good tale, but you've just proven something rather grave. For you, that is. Grave. The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes. But how did this witness know that? It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did he know the IV was actually yellow? Alika's OMG! Order! Order! Mr. Wright, you will explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what? I can only think of one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valent Grammar, has testified that it was yellow because... From the facts before us, the answer is clear. He knew the IV liquid was yellow. Why? Because he'd seen it before, but not inside the blue bag we see in the photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colorless bag. I suppose he would have had to, but I'm still not clear as to what it all means. Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at a hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor. I'm afraid I find nothing, so what if he knew the IV liquid's color? Leave the getting excited over our teeny bopper fans, yeah? The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin. I remember it well. However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag. Wait, I know. An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. I'm right? As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. I love the music stops. Unlike the sands through an hourglass, IV liquid enters the patient's body, at which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. How is this guy a judge? Let me get this straight here, Judge. You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag. Not with water, but with IV liquid. Yo, let's get with the sub! Yo! Thank you. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow. Now wait, I said wait! How might an amateur such as myself essay to perform such a task? I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup. Oh, it was Unfunny! Yo, thank you Unfunny for saying that! Even better! Thank you very much Unfunny for that gifted sub. That was so sweet of you. I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat? He has a point, amateurs. I at least would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into that bag. You don't need to be an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to that IV to throw off the time of death. I tired these fairy tales lacking evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth? Valiant Grammari, I'm afraid your magic won't serve you well in a life of crime. Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting? Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All he had to do was work a little magic. And the prop was this. The victim's syringe. It's the perfect prop for the magically increasing IV trick, and easy enough for an amateur to use. What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it. And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin? What? The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Valiant Grammari, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock, one that you could manipulate at will. Alakazam! I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that while there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, the time of death cannot be proven, and that brings our trial to a close for today. Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. I can do a little much-needed investigation work. I see there are no objections. Court is a... Truly, there's no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word of the wise. Underestimate the young and they'll sweep your feet from under you. In a way you never ever expected. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking. What's he talking about? You say the witness used the syringe to manipulate the level of IV liquid, but there was no proof. There's no proof he didn't do it either. Yes, quite true. Huh? He's admitting it. Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hoped. This I admit. After all, why linger in the past when the future holds so much? Kirita's back! You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin. Proof, Herr Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less. What's this? This is the victim Magnifi Grammari's diary. Do you guys remember? Gavin freaked out in the present day because of a journal. A journal with a silk hat at the back. After going to the hospital, McAfee began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his startling debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end quite appropriately with his death. Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request? Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote it in his journal that night, even after the IV had begun at 11 p.m. Let's read it, shall we? Tonight's IV is in, maybe the last. I leave the rest to them. The first should come soon. The journal may end here or it may go on, but not for long. It depends on his hand. All that's left now is to continue the pose. The court accepts this into evidence. Read the very last part with particular care. The journal may end here or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his. He refers to our defendant, Zach Gramerai. That would make sense, yes. He was the first scheduled visitor, after all. But look at what he said before that. The journal may end here or it may go on. McAfee Gramerai intended to write again. That is, if Zach Gramerai didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on, but there's very clearly a ripped page. McAfee's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Zach Gramerai. Order! Order! Prosecutor Gavin, are you certain that McAfee Gramerai wrote this? There was no mistaking his handwriting. Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, he did intend to continue writing his diary, but if it ended there, which plainly it did, then the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor, Zach Gramerai. Well, how do you like me now, Herr Wright? Still too green for your taste? He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with his precious evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony we heard was lacking, but put together with this evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case. If the diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. I hate that we have to do it. There's no need to do it. We just gotta point out that it was ripped. I don't like anything about this situation, but the judge is already getting twitchy with his gavel, so I better show him something quick or else. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence. What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary? It's not too late to rethink and avoid this. Very well. Please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright. Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary I've just shown the court. Now that we've come this far, hope you have something a little more decisive. Look at him baiting it. I'd be happy to. The decisive evidence proving it. But it is the diary! It is very clearly the diary. You're saying this is decisive. Yes, it's freaking torn. We don't even have to show the page. We don't need proof that he might have done it. We need proof that he did. If such a thing existed, of course. I hate that we have to do this. Hate that we have to do this. Hate that we have to do this. First, take a close look at this diary. Phoenix, that's all that matters. Just don't show the page. Just show that it was torn. It's been clearly ripped out. I hadn't noticed that at all. That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page. Alec, I don't believe it! Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot McAfee Gramerai. Wait, let me see that. I guess they could just show that... What, in Sam Hill? Why, this is the continuation of the victim's diary. I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. I know, we can't stop fate. Note the torn edge of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains. Which is funny, they both had forged evidence. Gavin had a forged diary, and Phoenix had a forged paper. Quite remarkable. Would you care to explain what all this means, Herr Attorney? The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zach Gramerai left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Valiant Grammari. No! So and funny, you came in late, but the handwriting too matches that on the other pages. Without a doubt, the genuine article. I guess we'll find out soon. Order! But wait, that's impossible. The old man couldn't have written that. Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you, Hero Wright? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Herr Judge? Yes, Prosecutor Gavin. Might I request we put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness. But Prosecutor Gavin! This evidence overturns the current witnesses. I only asked to put it on hold. Please, my new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes, no more. I promise, Your Honor. Well, if you put it that way. Mr. Wright, what's your take on this? Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway. So it may as well be sooner. The fact that this was so sprung. It was exactly a setup. Highly irregular. We'll put the current cross-examination on hold. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring in the surprise witness. I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped-out page was too obvious. He must have known. And I should have known it was a bad sign all around. Look at him, Drew Misham. Holding trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin. I beg the court's understanding. But I had to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony. A judiciary deal. The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it best to contain the information to this room. Very well, and you are the witness, I gather? Ah, yes. Yes, sir. State your name and occupation for the record. My name's Drew Misham. I'm, a painter. A painter, and you are somehow related to this case? No, well, not per se. I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is? Oh, yeah. I know it well. How is that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before? Oh yeah, I mean, I made it. You... What? You made it? Yes. You might call it one of my works. The regional prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Grammari. Illegal evidence? I initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world at large, Drew Misham has another side, you might say. He is skilled in making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries, in other words. Forgeries? Well, so we are to understand that this page here is a fake, prepared by a certain defense attorney. Hold it! I didn't prepare this evidence. Ah, the attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume. But what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix Wright. Witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Who requested this forgery? Who was your client? That... I don't know. What? Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make the items they want and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contact with them. But there's no proof this is a fake. It's a fake. Huh? To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my works. I can say without a doubt, this is mine. Mr. Wright, you have just presented illegal evidence to this court, my court. It was careless of me. That's all I can say. Oh, old boy. Here. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. It was all a trap. A fatal trap. Mr. Wright? Yes. You have an explanation for yourself. If I did, would the court hear it? Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime, and presenting it in court a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney. Fatal too, perhaps, for your client, I fear. Tell me, what kind of a defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one. Your Honor, wait! I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime, but you cannot hold my client responsible for the actions I undertook as an individual. This says so much about Phoenix that he's still thinking of his client in this moment. I am sorry, Mr. Wright. Your Honor. Another close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, yeah? I even gave you a chance. Too bad you decided to not think before embarrassing yourself. I see no reason for further discussion. Special witness dismissed. Mr. Attorney. Yes? Could I ask your name? Phoenix Wright. Mr. Wright. I have seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright. Yup. I know, right, Shingo? It says a lot about Phoenix. It says a lot about Phoenix. Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way, this trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must... Haha, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Zack. There was one thing I wish to make clear. Today, in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible. I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you. Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict when your defendant does not exist? Doesn't exist? What are you talking about? I am talking about this! Mr. Enigmar! The defendant's escaped! Find him, quick! Bailiff, close all the exits from the building! On the double! He must not be allowed to escape! That day, in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shady Enigmar, aka Zack Gramurai, did not just escape from court. He literally, unbelievably vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day. This is the Gramurai miracle! No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zack Gramurai vanished, along with him, for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however, but not until 7 years later. Alright, gang, we're definitely gonna call it here. As much as I'd love to continue. We'll finish the game tomorrow. One of my favorite parts too, honestly. I enjoy this investigation a lot. Alright, folks. Good night to all of you. Thanks for joining us in on this great experience. Tomorrow, tune in for the final bit. The plot too thick to contain. So true. So true. Yeah, tomorrow's the grand conclusion, which is really, really spicy. I love it. Good night to Unfunny. Good night, Shiflo. Good night, Blue Ace. Good night, Guardian Cha. Good night, Lich King. Good night, Outlaw. Who else am I missing? Good night. Oh, of course. Good night, Shingo from YouTube. Really great having you in here. Really a pleasure. Hope to catch you tomorrow as well for more of ours. Nexit, good night to you as well, my friend. Anyone else that I'm missing? I think that's just whatever. Maybe Sleazy's still up. Good night, Retro. Yes, thank you so much, Retro, for all of your clips. Your clips are so helpful. Love your clips, my friend. Very, very good stuff. Sleep well, everybody. We'll find someone fun to raid, and I will catch you tomorrow for the grand finale. Peace out, everybody. Good night. What's the general demi operation?